I sat too long.
All right.
That was a mistake.
All right. Oh, dear.
See, here's your live chat.
Doesn't that get you sometimes?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm gonna plug in if you're unplugging. Thanks.
Oh wait, I need to leave this in, don't I? I can't unplug this. You're not taking this.
No, that needs to stay.
I just realized that. I forgot we're still recording this.
Oh, okay.
You want it recorded, yeah?
Yeah, that's
I had
good.
it written down.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Trying to make sure though, I think this has to go under right here because it's gonna pull the, there we go.
Oh, Mike.
There we go. Yeah, so it doesn't pull it off the,
Mhm.
thing.
Hello, doll. How are you? Good. Good to see you.
Who you back?
Hello. What was your name again? Tyler.
There's
Good to see you.
pizza in the back, Katrina, so help yourself.
There's Kate back there too.
Oh, yeah, carrot cake.
Yeah, that picture was 20 years old.
Okay, I think Marvin's coming
It's
too.
like the work, right?
And I'm gonna apologize to everybody in advance. I am waiting. I
It's
have my
from
record
before you hit
on.
viewer, so it's
I
like
am waiting on a
26.
phone call for something with Bib's school. And if I get that, I have to take it.
I missed her. She was fun.
so.
Five July Tuesdays open state.
How much percentage wise should I write down on that paper? What's our membership program? You don't know it, is it?
For what?
Our social security.
It's already
Socials,
written in.
2026.
At least it should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Capital BK.
What, it just block you out?
Yep, of course it does. Especially if it always has this shit when I'm trying to
Oh, this is the wrong one.
get out of it.
Fair.
You know?
I'm here after for a little bit too. I'm gonna mess around with the
Let
printer.
me give you those back.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'll go look for the other one. Just give me a minute.
Um, it's okay. 2025. It's not capital. Sorry. I mean, that's my fault. Continue. I just want to fucking log in, dude. Why is it so difficult? I just want to see that we're live. You know?
Oh, I got it.
We are live. Where should I have it?
Just in the front with the screen, you know?
No.
Like,
Like,
There is something going on with Gmail today. Like it is not searching things and pulling things right. And I was flipping out earlier,
that's good.
but I see on here it's not pulling this right either.
Oh, let's go in that door. There you go. Just like that.
It's not. I gotta get this up. But like I booked my mom's flights in March
Mhm.
to come up here.
Oh, like you're trying to search Delta
Right,
or whatever, and it's
Right.
not
Like no, I booked it and it is not. Like I can't find it in my Gmail anywhere, and I know I booked them. It's in there. And just now, like I'm trying to do the inspection report for Hollyhock to use for this one, so I'm pulling up like Hollyhock, and it's pulling up like all the closing documents, but it's not pulling up their inspection report. Like, and I know it's in here, right? Like I know it's in here,
Gmail's weird. It signed me out like 3 times today.
but it is flipping me out that I
Oh, if
can't
it's not out a bunch,
find.
that is weird.
I mean, it just kicked me out of all the things. That's why I had
It
to sign
is-
into YouTube because it's a Gmail.
It is
it's not a
freaking me
YouTube issue.
out that I can't find the actual inspection report, and I know it's in here. I pulled it up the other day to use for this class to make sure it was in there.
Where do you want this, by the way? We're recording, quote unquote. No one ever watches it live, but
Yeah, that's fine.
do what you want.
If you know what month it's from, you could narrow it down a little bit. But I mean, it seems like it's pulling. It's weird.
I know.
Yeah, I need chopstick. That was what I forgot.
This is just so weird. Because again, I just pulled it up yesterday to make sure it was in here. Bear with me, guys. 'Cause I don't know what this thing is doing. This is so weird.
Yeah.
No, where's the pizza?
Ah.
Sorry, say that again.
You got it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, really? You thought that? Oh, because you work with them to do those things where, that makes sense.
All right, I guess we're gonna use a different one.
I sent a picture of my wife with the boxes. You would have loved working there. She liked this. Say what? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
We get a decent amount of that.
Yeah. They said they're like in the dead zone for delivery or something. Here, so there's only 2 that make delivery.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. There's 2 places here that do deliveries. Isn't that ridiculous?
Well, it's almost at the end of the busy East Beltline. We're almost at the. Is there
Yeah.
a winery here, right? Winery, or is it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What do you mean by winery?
Or that orchard.
Orchard? What is that? Is it
Oh,
apples?
Robinette's?
Yeah,
Is it apples?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Mm,
All right,
You're
let
right.
you start there for
I always
Trina.
forget that, it's like right around.
It's right here. It's right across the street.
Next, we're gonna get started and get rolling then. So,
Lois, come.
hi Mark, how are ya?
I'm well, how you doing?
Good, good. Okay, deal or no deal? Negotiating inspections. So, a few of you haven't had your first buyers that you've closed yet either, so you haven't been through a home inspection. So I figured the first, can you see the TV? Figure the first thing that we do is kind of go over what an inspection report looks like and what they're looking for. Okay, and again, we have several inspectors that we partner with or recommend here in the office. Those are going to be on the counter right there outside where all the different pamphlets and everything are. So you can look those up. I never give out just one inspector. I usually give out 2 or 3 different names, phone numbers, and that kind of thing to my clients and let them pick who they want to have do their inspections.
For sure.
Sometimes it is a who can get there the quickest game, right? Because if you need inspections in 3 days, then who can get there in that 3-day window? Some agents have a go-to inspector, like that's the only person that they recommend and use, and they will call them before they even write an offer, right, to see if they can tentatively book a time to be able to do that as well. I will tell you that when we were in the height of real estate world, where we were selling houses like this all the time, you had to do that. If you didn't, you weren't going to be able to get your inspection in. So it was much more common. But right now, where we're having fewer homes that are getting sold, usually most of those inspectors can get in within 4 or 5 days. Yes? Yes. Okay. And remember that home inspectors are not required to be licensed in the state of Michigan. Anybody can call themselves a home inspector and register. All they have to do is like register the whatever with the state, right? And they're good to go. So you should also make sure anytime you're using a home inspector that they have insurance, that they're licensed and bonded, and most of the good ones will be members of other professional organizations. Like we have the West Michigan Home Inspectors Association here. So you can see like Glenn, he has a license number, and you can see right here, he's a certified master inspector, you know, CRT. He's part of this group. And, you know, so that's what you're looking for.
So you can have a title of certified master inspector, but you don't necessarily need to have any certification.
Well, this certified master inspector, like that's a class, right, that they take to get that certification.
Okay, so it's not. So.
No.
Yep.
No, you do have to have a license number through the state. But to get a license number, you don't have to have any kind of qualifications or whatever. You just have to pay the fee to get your license.
That's crazy.
Isn't it though?
My
So
neighbor.
I could start an inspector business?
You could.
Inspector Gadget.
Dum, da, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum, da, dum.
My neighbor is an inspector. He does, he does appraisal. Oh, never mind.
Right, appraisals are different.
Okay, I'm thinking.
And,
wrong.
right, appraisers have to have an apprenticeship. And
Okay.
in Michigan, I think it's 3 years that they have to do that apprenticeship. So again, like you want to cut hair, you have to have 1,600 hours of training. You want to sell real estate, it's 40 hours and pass a state test. You want to be an inspector, you got to pay the fee and register with the state.
Wow.
So, who you use matters in this instance.
So when it says certified, are they?
He has went through some professional class, right, that certifies it. It's just like you will probably get emails all the time that says, you know, do you want to be a certified divorce, blah, 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 blah. You pay the money, you take the course, you get the designation.
Okay.
But there are, again, like professional committees and professional organizations for inspectors. And that means that they are continually learning. They are required to have Con Ed with those and that type of thing.
Okay.
So most of the ones that we have, I would say all the ones that we have out there probably have some licensing credentials somewhere.
Okay.
But the state of Michigan does not require them to go take a test or anything like that to get a license. Okay. All of the home reports are generally going to look the same. They're going to start off like with the scope and the definitions and the compliance. So you can see on here that this one complies and reflects with the InterNACHI standards of practice, that they're evaluating the overall condition. The inspection is based on observations of the visible, readily accessible, and apparent condition. There is no warranty, guarantee, or insurance provided, right, from this company for what they're doing. And it does say, right, unexpected repairs should be anticipated. They can't see everything. That the person conducting your inspection is not a licensed structural engineer. Improvements, corrections, there's their Michigan compliance statement. And then they have one in here that says like what really matters in a home inspection. So this is what I like with theirs is some of them don't have these pages. And he says, relax and take a deep breath. Most of your inspection will be maintenance or improvement recommendations, life expectancies, and minor imperfections. These are nice to know about. However, the issues that really matter fall into these 4 categories. Major defects. An example of this would be a significant structural failure. These should be further evaluated and corrected by a qualified contractor. Things that may lead to major defects. A small water leak coming from a piece of roof flashing, for example. That should be improved or corrected, right, by a qualified contractor. 3, things that may hinder your ability to finance, legally occupy, or insure the home. Structural damage caused by termite infestation, for example. And 4, safety hazards, such as lack of GFCI protection, missing guardrails, trip or fall hazards, anything that should be corrected. And then down here it says, keep things in perspective. Don't kill your deal over things that don't matter. See, I love that my inspector is backing up what I am telling my clients. Don't kill your deal over things that don't matter. It is appropriate to demand that a seller inappropriate to demand that a seller address deferred maintenance, conditions already listed on the seller's disclosure, or nitpicky items. Focus on major items and items that may lead to a major issue. If you're working with a licensed realtor, express and bring your concerns to their attention. Ultimately, they will be the ones to help you with negotiations and resolving an issue. Now, his doesn't actually have it in here, but JW Home Inspections actually has a clause in their contract that says if some kind of defect is found, that they should have even found, that they have overlooked, that you can get the cost of your inspection refunded, but that you cannot sue them for it. Yeah. And in most cases, when something pops up, the immediate thing that everybody around that homeowner is going to say is, well, your inspector should have found that. Not necessarily. Again, they can't see behind walls. They can't see under floors. They do the best that they can, and then you have to evaluate whether or not you're going to buy the home based on what they found. But in general, it is not easy to sue an inspector. Okay? So when I'm setting the stage with my buyers, I'm setting the stage in that same format, right? They can only see what they can see. So we're going to do the best that we can. But then if there's something that you think is cause for concern that they couldn't see more of, then it's up to you on whether or not you choose to investigate further. Yep. Okay. So your inspector or your inspection is going to have the home inspection details. So here he's going to go through the services that were completed, who was present, what's the property type, the occupancy, the weather conditions. Because see, this one was in the middle of winter. So there was frozen ground and snow. It's hard to detect some things too if it's all covered in snow, right? Roofs. It's hard to inspect roofs when it's covered in snow. A lot of inspectors will not do anything with a roof if it has snow on it. So, this is Hammer. So Hammer Home Inspections and James Underwood. Underwood has their thing out there too. What I like is, are they going to crawl all over a roof if it's covered with snow? No. But they will get up on a ladder and they will clear off a portion of the roof so that they can at least see a patch and so you try to see what condition those shingles are in. Right? Most of them don't. They just say could not access the roof due to snow. Okay. So it'll give you the roof covering type, You know, this one's a metal roof, so, you know, it tells you a little bit about it. If you're looking at different inspection reports, most of the inspectors use a software system, right? Think about all the different software systems you use. And when you're in Dotloop, and you remember I said if you don't know what to say, like you can start typing it in, and a lot of times it'll pull up like the clauses that it uses most frequently with those words. That's basically what the inspectors have with this system too. Is like they put in the different parameters, and then the software system gives them like the 5 different choices of what they're going to select to talk about the roof in that report. Does that make sense? Okay. So they gave you the method of evaluation. You can see right here that he actually did try to clear a portion of the roof so that he could see that. Flashings, gutters and downspouts. So here you can see, you know, like ideally you like to see that homes have a guttering system with downspouts extending to around 6 feet away from the foundation. So this one has an improvement correction and or evaluation recommended. Dirty gutters, debris and leaves. That's easy. They just need to be cleaned, right? Downspout extensions missing. Again, that's pretty easy. All you got to do is fix the extension on the bottom of the downspouts. The entire house doesn't have gutters and downspouts. So why is that important?
Draining water off your property away from the foundation. Sometimes you can have that water coming off your roof go into your basement.
Correct. And I will tell you, believe it or not, probably 50% of the houses that I see don't have gutters. So again, like, is that an issue? Yes. Is it something that we need to fix? Yes. Is it something that we could have observed and noticed at the time of the showing?
Mhm.
So is that something that we would be asking for if we were negotiating for repairs?
No.
Right, because it was obvious to us when we saw it at the showing. Okay. So then they're also going to cover fireplaces. They're usually going to look at the masonry, like the chimney caps, that kind of thing, but they're not inspecting like the inside of a chimney or a flue. You have to get a specialist to come in and do that. Okay. Is a fireplace something that we're going to be asking for on an inspection? I mean, on a negotiation to repair.
It depends if it's real wood or not. It's actual damage. It's been cleaned, I would say, but I wouldn't lose a sale over it.
So the fireplace was a sore subject for my home that I live in now. I
Mhm.
kind of wish we would have, because had we had it inspected by a professional, we would have learned that it actually needed to be rebuilt from the roof line up, and there were flues tiles that were off. Our first fire was in the basement with smoke, because they told us that it was fine, they hadn't used it, right? So we just lit a fire thinking we were all good. So if you're a wood burning person, I would highly suggest having it inspected.
That would be my recommendation too. 90% of people don't normally get the actual extra step of a chimney. Why did that go off? The extra step of a chimney inspection when they're doing that. But if you have a wood burning fireplace and you are a wood burning fireplace kind of person, you know, and that's important to you, then you would suggest to them that they be having that extra step. Do you still have to have a chimney or a flue with gas? Yes, you do. But, you know, it's not doing the same amount of harm and damage as a wood burning fire with all the creosote and everything like that that comes up through it as well.
I had a gas one smoke up the ceiling pretty bad. We had to paint it.
Yeah, it can.
I don't know.
Why does it keeps flip?
You're not crazy.
Adam, would you go grab Elijah?
Elijah got.
Is this his computer right here?
No, I'm on my computer, but there's something that's going here that's.
telling you there's something crazy going on with all electronics right now. That's actually recording this, is what that one's doing.
I know she had the experience, but I said it first. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
There's so many things that are making me a better realtor that I've experienced in my own.
I've never experienced wood fire,
Mhm.
but I do a lot of bonfires.
Okay.
So I know the smoke, I got a smokeless now, smokeless bonfire.
Okay.
Yep.
And I know wood is unpredictable.
Yeah.
You can put one piece of wood that can cause a problem.
I don't know if
And if it
maybe
hasn't-
it's set to
you know,
go into like
so
the
that's why-
screensaver mode at a shorter time, but literally I have not touched it twice and it's just kicked me off.
That's weird.
So,
Sounds
see, and it's not me, is it?
It's whoever was mirroring
Okay.
before you, I think.
Well, no one was mirroring.
That's why.
Right. No, there's nothing else attached to this one right now.
I guess.
Hey, sorry, man, I was at a meeting. I didn't know what
The rogue.
Is it maybe trying to cast two?
Yeah, it looks like you had two on.
Okay. Well, let's try. It's up right now, so we'll see if that
I'll just
fixes
sit-
it.
I'll
Thank
sit here for a
you.
little bit.
I didn't know if maybe there was like a sleep mode or something where
I
it
don't
would
know.
take itself back out.
I don't think so. It should be at least.
Okay. All right. So the next item, when we're covering our inspection reports here after we get through the fireplace, is the attic space. Okay. Why is the attic space important?
Insulation,
Ventilation, yes.
mice infestation.
Water
mold,
damage.
damage.
Water damage, yeah. What else?
Um,
So attics, mold, venting,
Okay. Mold and venting, yes. So
leaks.
unless you have a pull down the steps, right, let them down, walk up, finished attic, most people do not spend much time in their attic, right? Because the majority of these are gonna have that access panel that you have to go up through, and the inspector's gonna have to get up there and look around, and you're gonna have to make sure that you're stepping on
trust.
trusses, right? Not putting your foot through the floor. Okay, so attics are not something that we really deal with on the disclosure statement. And it's a lot of stuff that we don't know about until somebody gets up there, okay? So this one says the attic hatch was not properly insulated. So this is what he's showing right here, that attic hatch. So what do you think that means if the hatch isn't insulated?
You're losing heat and air, and there's probably roof deterioration about.
Right, right. What can we tell from that attic space from a roof in the winter?
Losing heat or
Yeah.
getting cold air.
Condensation.
Condensation, yeah. But, so have you ever seen the roofs too? Like where everything is frozen over on everybody else's roof, but that one house has got icicles everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
That's because heat,
Escape. Yeah.
it's not insulated well. So that heat is rising up into that attic space and it's melting off some of that stuff that's on the roof, which is causing all those icicles to form
Yeah.
around it.
Funny story, actually. Saw they caught somebody growing weed because his roof was the only one that was melted. Didn't have any ice on there.
From the heat.
From the
Yeah,
heat.
because they have to have all those
Yeah.
lamps.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, I mean, like it's an energy loss, but it's not anything that's make or break, right? Okay. Then they're also going to look at the framing. So when we look at framing, right? So they're looking at the truss system and they're trying to make sure that all the trusses are attached properly, right? That we don't have breaks in the trusses or anything like that. What I talked about earlier, when I was talking about that white mold, right? That is the most common thing that we see in attics. And frequently you're going to find it on the trusses and you're going to find it on the bottom of the deck boards. And that's where it's going to show up. Yeah, it's very, very common. So see here, we've got we've got pictures of the under of those deck boards. They're gonna check for that water penetration.
And
Now-
like today, it's gonna be about 125 degrees up there.
It is. Now here's another important thing though. You should ask any inspector that you're planning on working with. You can see here with these water penetrations and this kind of stuff too, that he says when scanning with a thermal camera. Not all inspectors use thermal cameras. And thermal cameras are important because it will detect, just like we saw up there earlier, we had that purple showing up with that heat loss. Normally moisture shows up red. So you can even have the inspector, if you're someone who has a lot of allergies or a lot of asthma, or you have a child that has breathing problems, anything like that, it's usually extra, but they can take those thermal cameras and do a scan of every wall. Because again, if there's a pipe that's leaking behind a wall, you can't see it on an inspection. But if you have a pipe that's been leaking behind a wall for a while, it's going to have moisture, right? And that thermal camera will detect if there's moisture behind the walls. Yes. Is this something that would be very important to us on our inspection and negotiating for repairs?
Yes.
Yes, yes. What type of things would be important? If we're dealing with a roof in general, what are the different issues that we would be looking at negotiating?
I would say it's add insulation if it's losing heat.
So adding insulation is going to improve, right, the overall heat loss. But like in today's market, when we're in a seller's market, insulation is probably never ever going to be asked for at any point in time.
So we negotiated, they had remediate mold,
Mm-hmm.
so they paid for that. And then
Okay.
they also had to ventilate the roof, so there were no vents on our roof. So they had to put in things,
Vents.
the vents
Right.
were going in there, so the.
Yep,
bathroom
ridge vents.
So
And,
they moved it all, they
Right.
fixed it all.
and then they put ridge vents in so that air can circulate through the attic. See, that's a misconception that we have too, is that we think our house has to be sealed up tight. It is sealed up tight, but you do have to have ventilation in that attic. And they're built that way so that air can move through that space. So remediating mold, that's something that we would be having a conversation about. Not having any vents, that's something we would be having a conversation about.
Checking
Um,
leak damage. Checking leak damage.
Yep, leak damage. So here's the thing. When you have your seller's disclosure, right? For us, the seller's disclosure asks, what's the approximate age of the roof? And do you have any leaks or problems? So, if the roof is 20 years old, who knows how much life expectancy it's got left on it, right? Somebody could say it's a 25-year shingle, but what I have found in the roofing world is subtract 5 years from whatever they tell you the life of a shingle is. That's really more realistic of what you're looking at it. But if they disclose that the roof was 20 years old, but had no leaks, then you knew that making the offer. Again, right? You made your offer based on the age of that roof. Now, maybe there was a leak that they're not aware of. Okay, so the roof is 20 years old. The inspector says that it's probably got, 3 to 4 years of life left on it, but it has a couple of spots that are leaking. How are we going to negotiate that for repair? What options do we have?
Maybe a seller concession.
Seller concession.
Depends on what the client really wanted, if they wanted speed to sale, or if they wanted to make sure everything was tidied up before they got there.
Yeah.
But seller concession would be my first thought, just to get the process done as quick as possible.
Okay? Adam?
Yep.
Am I asking for a whole new roof?
Well, I mean, so much depends on that kind of stuff. No, so if I make an offer on that house, I'll say, hey, Kendall, we're putting a great offer together. It's clean as a whistle. We want to do inspections, but we're going to get it done in 48 hours. And I can tell you, we already know the roof is nearing the end of its life. The mechanicals are older. We're not going to ask for anything of that. So I get my offer accepted already with that. Now, but if it points out something that's terrible, then we'll have another conversation.
And that's kind of exactly how we would be handling it. Because again, we made our offer knowing that the roof was 20 years old. So do we know what shape it's in at 20 years? No, I've seen ones with 20-year shingles that go 30 years before they have a problem. The most common thing that's going to go bad first are going to be the seals, right? That's around all that.
Chimneys, skylights, vents.
Right. So maybe the roof has another 5 to 7 years, but the leaks are all around the seals. Right. So I'd probably be asking to have the roof, have the seals redone. That's not super expensive. It's maybe $500 or so to have that done. But let's talk about this right here. In any negotiation, we ask for a seller concession. What is a seller concession? Where does that money show up?
Closing? No?
It could be off the price.
Oh,
No,
That's a price
That-
reduction.
that's a price reduction. That's not a seller concession.
what was about it?
Just be a concession, like example, 5,000 K.
Oh, the seller
be an
pays it.
addendum.
The seller pays it, right?
Seller pays it, yes.
Closing.
And
No.
it's going to show up on those Alta statements, right?
Right.
So if your seller is, if the seller is giving 5,000 to the buyer in seller concessions, then that 5,000 is gonna show up, charged to one, credited to the other,
Oh, sure.
right?
The way I describe it, Kendall, if I'm working with a buyer, is I'll say, hey, we want to control this process. We want to pick the contractor or do it ourselves and do it after we close. Instead of reducing the price, which is going to amortize over 30 years and not really affect your cash to close, we're going to ask for a seller concession. It's going to immediately reduce your closing costs by $5,000. You hold that $5,000 of your own money in the bank. The seller makes up for it on the closing, and we pay the roofer out of your own check.
That is exactly where I'm going with that.
That's smart.
Because most listing agents will come back and say, okay, well, we'll reduce the price by $5,000. No. If you reduce the price by 5,000, what you do is reduce the loan amount by 5,000. It has nothing to do with money in their pocket. And if they need that 5,000 to make the repairs, then it has to come through as a seller concession because that deducts $5,000 from how much money they have to bring in to close.
Right.
So that leaves another 5,000 in their pocket to be able to handle it and do it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because the listing agents will always go to that purchase price first. There is a third option out here that doesn't get used as frequently, but can get used. And that is an escrow account. Where we used to see this a lot was FHA, VA loans, and we have problems with well and septic.
Mm.
Because let's say that your buyer is a veteran, they're a VA buyer, and we did the well and septic inspection on that property, and the septic is failing and it needs a new system. But it is January and the ground is frozen solid. They can't do it in January when the ground is frozen solid. But we don't want this deal to have to wait 3 more months to close, right, for your client because they can't get that done. Then what will happen is you do an addendum to hold an escrow. The escrow has to be very specific and it has to have an end date and then describe what's going to happen. But they will take the estimate.
Or 3.
Yeah, or 3. they will hold 1.5 times that amount in case there's something else that's encountered when it has to be done. So let's say the estimate is $10,000 for the septic system. Then what's going to happen is the title company is going to hold $15,000 out of those sellers' proceeds, and they're going to have it in this escrow account. Now you have to be very specific again on stating like that the repairs have to be completed by this time. Also because the bank, the VA mortgage company is going to want to see that repair within a certain time frame. And then they have to submit the receipts, right, to the escrow to show how much money they paid out for that repair. Now, let's say that they only found a few things they had to do different, and the actual cost is $10,500. Then the remaining funds in that escrow account will be released back to the seller. So that's another way to do it, right? If the seller's got to pay for it, but we can't have the work done, but it's a condition of the loan, then we have to do this.
Yep.
Okay. I also had one that closed just a couple of months ago where I had younger first-time home buyers. The house had been vacant for 2 years. That's the one that I was looking for to do the report on. And so 4 kids, right, in the trust, all equal signers. But because the house had been sitting empty for 2 years, there was a lot of damage that had happened from just nobody being in it.
Yeah.
And they also misrepresented things. So like on the seller's disclosure, they did not have down like ages for the furnace or the AC or the hot water or anything like that. But in the listing description, the listing agent put that they were all updated 2021 or later. Right? So I didn't point this out to the listing agent because it was a leg up for me. Because when I was going through the house, I could see the approval stickers from the township on there, and I knew the furnace was from 2008. If she had done her homework properly when touring the house, she would have known it was 2008. But she didn't, and she represented it as 2021. So then when my inspector comes in, and he says, the hot water heater is on its last leg, and it's leaking everywhere, and the furnace is 2008, not 2021, you know, blah, 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 then I'm able to go back to her and say, we got some big problems. And when I start talking about this, and she says, well, they didn't have ages on the seller's disclosure. I said, no, they didn't, but you did. It's in your public comments. She screwed up, right? I wrote her offer based on the fact that all the mechanicals were 2021 or newer, and they're not. The water heater is failing. The furnace is having some major issues, you know, and it's from 2008. So I'm like, you misrepresented the information that we based our offer off of. We also had mold in the attic. We had white mold in the attic because the bathroom fans were vented into the attic and not vented into the exterior. Now, she's got a dad who's a handyman who could do that no problem. But the roof, again, they had enough. We could see in the garage, there was all kinds of water damage in like this one corner of the garage. But when I was looking through it, you could also tell that damage was years old. So that was a previous leak that they had fixed or replaced with the roof. But the roof was on its last leg, and we had white mold on these deck boards, right here, and on the trusses. So we said, okay, fine. We want the trusses remediated, and we want a new roof, and every single deck board that has mold on it, we want replaced. Because they've already torn it all off. That's your exposed deck boards underneath the roof. They hemmed and hawed. They went back and forth. They tried to get us to take it off the purchase price. They did not want to do concessions. And I said, then your only other option is you fix it all yourself or you put the money in escrow. Like, that's it. And she was like, well, my clients are only willing to do a reduction of the purchase price, but that puts no money in their pockets for all of this stuff that has to be done. We're not willing to do that. We'll walk away. And her response to me was, well, rather than doing all that, they might just put a new roof on it and go back on the market 25,000 higher. I'm like, well, that's really nice, but a new roof doesn't make it worth $25,000 more. And now they have to disclose everything that you know about that we're having issues with. No, they don't. They've never lived in it. This is a Keller Williams agent in Rivertown who's on a major team. And I said, yes, you do. Go talk to your broker. You received a copy of the inspection report. They received a copy of the inspection report. They now have knowledge. They are no longer able to fill out that we've never lived in the home form. They have to disclose everything that's wrong with it. And I said, and you sat on the market for 20 days before you got my offer. I was your only offer. You want to play ball? Because we'll walk. They ended up doing all the work. And they thought they would just have a few deck boards that they'd have to replace. Because I said if it has mold, right, or if the deck board has obvious signs of moisture or damage, they ended up replacing 42 deck boards on that roof, which was almost the entire roof. Yes. So is that a big deal in negotiations? Roofs kill deals all the time. But you need to know what your different options are with roofs. We've also had ones where they've said, well, the shingles look okay. You know, like they're not failing yet. They may have a few more years. But again, we're having leaks around all that. Okay. Well, maybe the compromise is that we just have everything resealed. But the important part there is whenever you're writing those addendums to request repairs, you want to make sure that those addendums state that it's going to be a licensed and insured contractor and that they're going to provide receipts.
Is that nobody scrolling on Instagram for?
Susan, did you have a question?
Is that me?
No.
I did. When you put the money into escrow, you're putting the estimates in there too, so the buyer can't then just go and say, hey, this contract.
You're not putting the estimates, but what you do is you get the estimates and then the two parties decide on a dollar amount based on those.
So it's not just
So,
an open thing where the
no,
buyer can
no,
go and
but
say,
if we
"Oh,
called
I'm choosing
title
20
and said the
compared to 10."
person, yes, but if we had said to title,
Mhm.
because we are writing the addendum that creates the escrow account.
Okay.
So if we all agreed that $8,000 was the appropriate quote,
Okay,
but escrow requires that you hold 1.5 times.
sure, because you always run into problems.
Right.
Just a random thought.
Yeah.
I was looking through disclosure stuff on a house the other day, and it literally said under roof, just newer. Didn't have any kind of date or nothing.
Sometimes they don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
fair.
they remember they had it done, but they don't remember when they had it done.
You know,
So,
it
and
can be a little vague.
it
if-
can.
If it's
It can.
true. Yeah.
And remember too, as I said, people don't realize how old something is. I mean, time passes by so quickly that we don't even realize. You could be talking to a seller and you can say, how old are the furnace and the air conditioning? Oh yeah, we just replaced those just like a year or two ago. So, you know, and we did them both at the same time. Okay, great. And so I'd say like 2-3 years. So like I'm writing in my notes, 2 to 3 years. And then I'm touring the house and I go down there and I see the inspection sticker and it's stamped from like 2017. So then I go, hey, you know, you said it was only 2 or 3 years old, but this shows 2017. I guess it has been that long. Yeah, Tommy was playing t-ball when we did those. They don't mean to misrepresent. You just forget.
Fair.
Yep. I love it when I walk into a house and I see like those little old lady binders that have every receipt, every invoice, and everything in it, for everything that's ever been done to the house. Those are like gold. Okay. So let's get past our roof. They're going to go through the exterior. Now, you know, they're going to take pictures. What's the most common things that we're going to find on the exterior that we're looking for?
Foundation.
Foundation. Foundation is the biggest because usually we see that on the outside of the house and we see that in the basement area if we can access it, right? Foundation is what holds the house up. That is super important. You can have a house that's 5 years old that has foundation issues.
Mhm.
You are not a foundation specialist, right? He didn't observe any major defects on the visible portion, but he did say that he couldn't observe all of it due to grading, sliding. Sometimes you got a deck, right, that's covering up a portion of that foundation there. So I'm looking on the exterior, I'm looking in the lower level as much as I possibly can in the basement. We are not foundation experts. We have to advise our clients of that. I always tell mine as well that some settling and cracking is pretty normal. Almost all houses have some type of settlement or cracking with their foundations. And when you see something that's kind of like this, like that's usually not a big deal. That's a settlement crack. When you see a crack that does this, that's big time concern. Or you see a crack that does this, big time concern. Right? Okay. So, no, you're not a specialist. No, you cannot advise them on that. If you think there's a big problem with the foundation, it should definitely be inspected by a professional. They don't do that for free. It's not cheap. So usually with my clients too, I'm like, I'm telling you right now, like before we even look at houses, I don't care how much you love it. If it's got either one of these showing up, we're running away. We're dead.
With the jagged line like that.
Yeah.
That's like along the sides of the brick, right? I've seen that before.
Like cinder block ones?
Yeah.
You see this.
It's
But
crazy.
you'll also see ones that are flat up concrete that are running like this. But like the straight up and down or the at a slight angle, that's completely normal. Same thing, like even if you've got a door frame, right? How many of you see them? And you see that little crack running right here in the corner of the door frame, that's settling.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that there's huge issues with the foundation. Now, what are other ways that we can find out that there are problems with the foundation?
Water leakage, water in the basement.
Yep, water in the basement. Although it depends too, right? Like in those heavy rains, water has a way of finding its way in. Water can seep through concrete.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always mean that that's a problem.
It could be what I was telling you about the house I sold. They had clay underground.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called.
They're tiles, straight tiles.
Yeah. Instead of PVC. And we kept wondering, where's the water coming from in the basement? It seemed it was coming from underground.
Yep. And it
Where's-
can.
Yeah.
Get over in Ottawa County.
Yeah.
Water table, there's no.
What about this?
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
What?
You walk the edge.
Oh yeah. Seriously.
Not the edge.
Uneven?
Inside the house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uneven?
floor, you mean?
As you start to see more and more houses, you can walk and you can feel a slope.
Yep.
You can walk
And then you feel.
and you can feel soft spots
Yeah.
underneath. You can walk. Some of them you can look, and you can see that a corner is right
Yeah.
shifting down a little bit.
Yeah.
The door frame on the bottom edge of the
Yep.
door, you can see the gaps.
Yep, where the transition tread is and it's off, like you can see it. So that's stuff that you're observing. But that's also stuff that you should be observing when you're walking through the house, which is before we're making our offer.
Yeah.
Now that means it's something that we want to investigate, but we already know that there could be a problem there.
Yeah.
I see a lot with elderly or,
Yeah.
again, homes that have been sitting for a while too, where there's a leak in the bathroom somewhere and the subfloor is starting to rot.
All right.
Right? You can feel it. You can feel it when you walk. You can feel the bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Something's going wrong with that subfloor.
I looked at a house. I think it was built 1912 or 1915,
Mhm.
and it has 2 stories. And
Yeah.
I went upstairs and
Yep.
You can see it. You can see it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
But again, that isn't always bad because in a house that is that old, it is completely expected.
Yeah, but it's all.
Yeah.
Every room is off.
But they are 50% of the houses that you go into in Heritage Hill right now are gonna have completely sloping floors
Oh my
in
god.
all different areas. It's just part of holding those older homes. What we're looking at is there active or new cracking?
Yeah.
Right? You can also have, this is more common in those old Michigan basement ones, but right where you see it bowing out, right? Because there's so much water and moisture and whatever behind it that it's finally starting to push and crack through those thin layers of concrete that they put over top of them. Right? That's a foundation problem.
If you want an example, just go to the Muskegon Heights.
Yeah.
I am fluent in going walls right now.
So foundations are big.
I haven't seen
Foundations, we want to make sure with our clients that we do our due diligence because that is the number one most costly thing with a home is the foundation.
Marco's first time home buyer that had that.
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
Yes, but again, that was 100-year
Yeah.
water table.
Totally.
So
totally.
probably wasn't, but yes. All right, driveways and walkways. Do we usually ask for any repairs to those? No, don't waste your time. You're asking somebody to fix a driveway unless the driveway has chunked so much that one side is here and one side is here, never getting done.
If it's cracked in multiple places, I mean, just,
Nope, every driveway up here cracks. Nobody's gonna fix a cracked driveway. When I am basing the price of a home, I don't pay squat attention to the driveway. Right? Who cares?
So it doesn't affect the house. It's irrelevant.
Nope. Steps and handrails. So again, those are important, but they're really more important for a VA or an FHA buyer because that is a health and safety issue. If the staircase going down to the lower level does not have a handrail and you have a VA or an FHA buyer, they're probably going to require that handrail be installed. So yes, we're going to ask for that because it's going to be a condition of the loan approval. And unfortunately, in those kind of instances, it has to be re-inspected if it's not there before the appraiser goes through, because the appraiser will not sign off on it unless it's present, right? So I know if I have a VA buyer and the appraiser comes back and says we're missing 2 handrails, I would have already had the conversation with the agent up front and probably said, we know it's missing 2 handrails, we'll pay to have them installed. Okay. Let's keep going. Decks. What about decks? Do we negotiate decks?
I think so.
Tell me more, Brian.
I had to do I replaced the deck for this lady and I had to get permits and everything because it was above a certain height and then I don't know, I thought she had a deadline, but I think that was the whole thing. Cause it was like I don't know, attached to her.
So somebody negotiated that for a deck.
No, I don't know how that. Yeah, no, I was just the guy that
Put the deck on?
got the job. Yeah, and then did the permit, but I don't know what. I know she had some kind of a deadline, and I was like freaking out because.
Okay.
I say unless there's pieces of wood that are rotted or breaking, otherwise you don't bother with it. If it's in solid state.
That's what we're looking for. And is it a safety hazard? We're checking.
Sorry, this deck had another post that it needed, but it might have had some. It was rotting, but then to rebuild it, you had to add another post to bring it up to code, and then. So I think you had to bring it up to code to.
Yeah.
Rebuild it anyway.
And it's one of those too where it's dependent on the house, right? If you have one of these decks that's on the post, that's like really high up, you know, like your kitchen is up here and the deck comes off the kitchen, then obviously you want to make sure that structurally it's sound to be able to walk out on. And I've seen some really shoddy work on decks before too, let me tell you. If it's one that's like only a couple feet off the ground, we're not as concerned. We still want to make sure it's structurally safe. But again, it's not, unless the deck is completely falling apart.
Yeah.
And gonna have to be rebuilt. And even then, it depends on the price and situation of the home as to whether or not you're gonna ask for anything there. Now, if I were looking at a $900,000 lake house and the deck was in horrible condition, that would be something that we would be negotiating on because it's a lake house and it's $900,000. You're expecting to be spending your time outside on the deck enjoying the lake. But I also would have been able to see what shape it was in before we made our offer.
Yeah.
Right? So again, I probably would have said to the agent, this is where we're making our offer. And part of that is based on the fact that the deck needs to be completely rebuilt. Yes. So a lot of these situations we encounter before we even go in. That's your job. When you're walking through it, you're evaluating it with your client. Okay.
So are we making recommendations as we're walking, or?
You are not a licensed contractor and you are not a professional.
Right.
So
We're
what
just
I,
observing.
yes, but the way I frame that with all of my clients is, I am not a licensed contractor or an inspector,
Gotcha.
right? Anything that I say should have a second opinion from somebody who's actually qualified in that field.
Perfect, okay.
But after being in the number of homes that I've been in over the years, I have a pretty good understanding of what might look like a problem. So I will point that out to you, but I am not the professional.
Okay.
That's the way I said it, frame it, phrase it, and let them go from there. And the reason I say this is I want to warn you and I want to caution you. So, this is Aiden and Alicia's house in Ionia. This was an old house in, downtown Ionia, right? Just like downtown Greenville and all that. You got those cute little city blocks that were all built. Houses are close together. Some of them do hills like this and all that. And most of them were built late 1800s, early 1900s. So this house was built like 1918.
Okay.
JW Home Inspections did that one. No, it wasn't JW. Pillar Post did that one. And it's this young kid, and I'm not knocking any of you that are young, but he's probably like 22, 23, cocky as all get up, and in my opinion, did not have a lot of experience. And he's going through, we have a Michigan basement, but we have a Michigan basement that's got pretty good head clearance, like laundry was down there, right, and all that stuff, and a crawl space. And he's telling them that this basement looks like it's up all kinds of foundation issues, and he's really concerned with it. And this is our basement where most of it is field stone. So it's like those big stones that are all rocked in together. He also said something about the attic. So remind me in a minute, I'm going to go back to that. And I just looked at Aiden because I could see he's kind of freaking out, right? When he says all kinds of structural. I'm just like, right? You got it. So, inspection was over. And I told Aiden again, I'm like, I'm not an inspector. I am not a foundation expert. However, there's nothing that I see in this basement that's giving me cause for concern. So, you can have it evaluated. And if you're concerned about the foundation, then I recommend you have it further evaluated. But I'm going to tell you right now, too, that every single foundation company that you call is going to tell you that something's wrong. And they're going to try to sell you some kind of system to waterproof your basement, right, or XYZ. So, this is being recorded. It's not live. I can edit it if I have to. All the foundation guys are crooks. All of them. Called Foundation Specialist. They came out. They didn't find any obvious issues with the foundation. But of course, that entire crawl space was just going to fill up with water. And it needed to be dry locked. And blah, 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 blah. And I mean, they were pushing hardcore trying to nail him in right then and there to sign a contract for that.
Really?
And I said, thank you very much, for your time and for your opinion. We appreciate that. We still had to pay $150, I think, for that, but they make their money because they sell.
Right.
And I said, we're going to have some further discussions before we decide to do any of this. And she was still pushing. I literally had to turn my back on her and take them into the house and shut the door to get away from that sales pitch.
Okay.
And to this day, now they've been in that house for 6 years. There have not been any issues whatsoever with the foundation. The other problem that we have with that one is this particular house with different types of roofs, right? You can have different types of trusses. And some of these different types of roof have, think of when you've got like an A-frame, right, in your roof, then certain ones of them have trusses that are, or supports that are like this, right? So, I don't know how to draw this and draw it right. Let's say that this is the A-frame right here. Then what's going to happen is you're going to have those boards that are like this high that go down this way, right? That hold up, and then that truss comes down and attaches to it. It's like a half wall, right?
Okay.
So this little dude comes down and tells me that there's all kinds of issues with the roof, that the right support structure's not in place, that it should also have these blah, 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 blahs, going down the middle. And I said, no, it doesn't. It's a half wall construction. That's not right. And I can't believe they haven't had problems before, and blah, 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 blah. And again, like, I just waited till he's done. I looked at Abe and I'm like, dude doesn't know what he's talking about. You can Google it right now. So,
This was the inspector.
and they are licensed and insured. But again, like, they hire people and they probably put them through a 5-hour watch all your videos, and now you go on 3 inspections with somebody else, and now you get to do inspections.
Mm.
So,
But
yes.
You said something about 22-year-olds don't know a lot about.
I'm not saying they don't. If you have a 22-year-old whose dad was in construction and he tagged along for the last 6 years doing everything, he probably knows quite a bit.
No, I'm saying they might know a lot because don't a lot of them do roadblocks, right?
Minecraft.
Minecraft, there you go. So they know a lot about foundation, right?
They do. So I'm just saying it matters,
There you go.
right? Who you're working with and who you're using and what their experience is and whether or not they're scaring off your client over stupid stuff. All right, so let's get on. Windows, right? If it's cracked glass, we can see that when we're in there. Again, FHA VA requires you can't have any cracked windows. The other big thing that they're going to be looking for here are those window seals, right? They're testing them to see if there's any rot in those. I do the same thing. So when I'm looking at a house with my buyer and the house might be a little bit older, I keep a pencil, stuck in my head all the time. But I'm walking through with that pencil and I'm hitting the corners, like right here, to see if I can feel any give or any rot in that wood around them.
Or the seal is cracked.
Right. Now, is that something that I'm going to ask to have repaired? If I've got a broken window in a kid's bedroom, I'm probably going to ask them to replace that window. But are we going with like all new windows? Not unless they're in really bad shape. It's just if we have an FHA or a VA buyer. I meant to say that earlier when we got sidetracked there too. Siding, right? Because again, VA and FHA won't allow cracked siding, missing siding, holes in siding. Okay. So then here's our gas. Here's our exterior faucets, doorbells, dryer vents, sprinklers. Like most of this stuff, you're never going to end up doing anything with as far as negotiating that. Fences.
Sump pump.
Well, sump pump is a biggie, right? Because your basement could flood if the sump pump isn't working. So that is definitely one. And 9 times out of 10, unless it's just really, really old, then a lot of times what happens if it's not functioning or it's not working properly is like that backup battery pack is dead. Most sump pump fixes are not super expensive to have to do. Okay, then of course we're looking at our furnace. Now, let's say that the furnace is 15 years old. We know it's 15 years old. We knew it was 15 years old when we bought it. But they found one or two little things that seem to be funky with it. We're not going to get a new furnace. Still got plenty of time left in it. What can we ask for that we can probably get? Home warranty. What else can we do? Yep. So I will usually ask to have the furnace inspected and tuned up by a licensed HVAC technician. Because that tuned up means they have to fix whatever problems they find with the furnace when they do the checkup. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going. So estimated age. Did you have a question? Somebody have a question? Okay. Electrical shutoff, fuel shutoff, air filters, thermostats, ductwork. Okay, I have seen people too come back and want all the ductwork clean. It's just like, that's cute. You want the house or not? We're never doing that. So, if you have a buyer who's all about the, I have cat allergies, then either you call every single person before you go see the house and confirm that they don't have a cat, or they're going to be paying for their own ductwork cleaning and everything when they move in. It's not the seller's problem that your buyer is allergic to cat dander. Okay. Humidifiers, cooling systems. Again, they're going to check through everything there. Electrical disconnect. Where am I going? What do I want to see next? Plumbing. Plumbing's big. Guys, in between the sales meeting and this, I had to call the agent back for my house on Gun Lake, and it's on a crawl space. So they had to go back and do the crawl space inspection this morning, and they found out that her sewer drainage line that goes out to the sewer system, it's cracked. Like you can see the gaping hole in that sewer line. I'm surprised that she's not had sewage spilling over into her crawl space. So we're gonna have to fix that.
That sucks.
What is that?
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Is it like shoot out the roof or something? Is it?
Well, it's not the whole thing. They're just gonna have to replace that portion of the pipe. But it's cast iron, right? It's that
Yes.
old portion. But this is the type of thing that brings up a very important question. Would every buyer want that done?
Of
If
course.
there's a huge hole in the sewer pipe,
Yes.
nobody's gonna buy it unless we fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that a repair request that has to be addressed?
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely.
It's a
I mean,
shame.
that's not
It's
anything.
cast iron, your guy's gonna come out and evaluate the rust of the pipe, because if that's shot,
Right.
good chance that it's.
But that was
shot.
one where they actually created the public sewer, like in the late 90s, and they connected all the houses to it. So that should all be fine. But that house was originally from 1940. It was a one-story, but then they turned into a two-story back in the 80s. So, but that section's gonna have to be replaced. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing where it doesn't matter if you're on the listing side or on the buy side. This is a deal that nobody's going to do unless that's fixed.
No, does it have to be replaced with cast iron or it can be PVC pipes?
It'll probably go to PVC when they
PVC,
redo it.
okay.
Yeah, is usually what they do, but it's getting that cast iron out.
Oh, yeah. Shitty job.
So,
All right.
the list, I have,
You're right.
the house was listed at 850,000. We accepted an offer at 830,000. We were on the market for like 12 days, right? They wanted me to take it off before Memorial Day weekend. And we figured we'd probably end up maybe 25 under that. So good offer. We did it. So now she comes back to me and she says, this has to be done. Right? Look at what's wrong with it. Am I going to push back on her for that? this is a good offer, they're paying a fair amount. Again, any buyer is going to want it done. This is one where we should just all be agreeable and have the seller fix it beforehand.
Plus you're off the market for Memorial Day weekend. I mean, you could relist it, but
We were. And if I do relist it though, the fact is, you know, we may not get an offer
I know.
that high again. I could, because I'd be back on the market for July 4th. But again, most people buy those lake houses earlier in the season because they want to have at least part of the summer in that lake house. Okay, so let's say that it's not the sewer pipe or anything that we're having a problem with. Let's say that there are leaks under all the bathroom sinks.
Leaks?
Leaks under all the bathroom sinks. And the agent comes back to me and says there's leaks under all the bathroom sinks. Those need to be fixed. Again, this price point, this good offer, I would probably say, sure, we'll be happy to take care of that. Right, because of the situation. Now, let's say that we're in a situation where the house sold in a couple of days. Now, let's back that up. The house has been sitting on the market for 30 days, and we wrote an offer. And, you know, we did go a little under because it'd been sitting that long. But then once we get into it, we find out there's all these different laundry lists of things that have to be done. Let's say that there are really 10 items that like should be addressed, need to be addressed for this house. How would I go about negotiating that with the agent and with my buyer? What would my conversation be? Well, first off, how about we do it this way? Let's play it like this. There are 10 items that have shown up on this inspection report. Now, right now, I don't care what those 10 items are. Let's take structural off the table. There's no structural problem. But let's give me 10 items that came back on this inspection report that my buyer might be worried about.
Cracked windows.
Cracked window, okay? Somebody give me another one.
Leaky pipe.
What else?
Mold. In the attic.
In the attic, okay? Hi, Tony.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey, Tony.
Sneak in here real quick, grab my ponies.
Well, let's ask you a question though while you're grabbing your ponies.
All right, ask away.
What is a frequent concern that you see for people that are getting homeowner insurance, if they're concerned about maybe a problem with that house?
Flood zone?
Anything,
Flood zone.
okay?
It could be
Oh, that's fair.
sump pump coverage, so they see like a sump pump in the basement.
Okay, so we're gonna say the sump pump's not working. How far does roof come into that to play?
It's a big one.
Okay.
So they want to make sure that you know that the area there's not a lot of overhanging trees. There's not like curling of shingles or discoloration or loss of like the granular.
Yep.
That could create an issue as you get closer to close.
Mhm.
Some carriers are getting, well, all the carriers are getting a little bit more tight with it, so if they see that, they may not want to
Cover it.
insure it, correct?
So that's a conversation that Tony and I had a month or two ago that for all of you that'll watch the recording, you should know about as well. So there's nothing in the world of us with real estate right now that is going to change anything about roofs or roof requirements or when it has to be replaced or anything like that. But the insurance companies are getting more and more and more picky. So right now we have buyers that are waiving inspections and they're still getting insurance coverage. Some states now are actually changing their laws because of the insurance industry that you have to allow an inspection. Like it's no longer an option for you to be able to waive an inspection. And I think eventually we're going to see that trickle down and filter through the majority of the states, not because it's better for the consumer, but because the insurance companies are going to require it. So with some companies now, and you call and say, can I get coverage? And they say, did you do an inspection? And they say no, they'll just refuse coverage.
Some of the lending terms, I think it's if it's not conventional, what is it if you put down like 3.5%?
FHA.
FHA, they've
Yeah.
even come out and said that you can have an ACV roof. Because beforehand, they wouldn't allow the lending if it wasn't replacement cost.
Yeah.
The other one I'll say too is like on an older house, like maybe think about like maybe 50s, 60s built, great houses, but a lot of times you see those Cape Cods that are being bought. And you'll have on a lot of policies you can buy service line coverage, so buried utility lines. So it's also a good thing to think about too, because pre-root invasion, a lot of them will have a big oak tree, and those roots can go so far. So service line coverage will pick up coverage if there's like a root invasion that pinches the line and then causes the back of the house. They got to dig up the yard and figure out where the issue is. Corrosion's a big one, depending if that line's been there
I've
for
got one right
60,
now.
70 years.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what it's sitting on, so that can pick up coverage for that too. So it's just it's a cheap coverage, but it gives people peace of mind. So if something comes up, I mean, it's a quick $10,000.
Yep. And the northwest side of town is extremely known for root invasions and causing issues with all of those lines.
East Grand Rapids too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony, does it have to be ultimately a total failure, like, sewage is coming up, or there's indication, or how does that work?
Yeah, generally there's a problem that there's something that creates that problem, and you see it on the inside. Like oftentimes it will go hand in hand with like a water backup where it pinched the sewer line, and then they started to see the mess coming up through the toilets or the drains, and then when you get the professional to come out and they look at it and like, oh my gosh, it's coming up here, and the reason why is because you have a tree root invasion in the yard, so now we gotta dig up the yard and fix the line and cut the roofs off. So that's kind of how it comes into play.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
am I off the hook?
You're off the hook.
All right.
Thank you.
Get these
All right.
boys some barns.
And-
You guys have a good one.
And just because I know you guys normally stay till 2, I can go after, but I want to wrap up in like 10 minutes just in case there's somebody that needs to leave too. Let's finish this out. So what's another thing that was found on this inspection that my buyers might be concerned about?
Old electrical,
Old electrical, okay? Tell me more.
knobbing tube.
That's a biggie. Okay. I'm gonna throw in one that I see frequently too, and that is the no GFCI on the outlets.
Is that just in the bathrooms and kitchens or everywhere?
Everywhere.
I mean, a lot of times you'll find a house and 2 of the outlets in the entire house have GFCI breakers,
Yeah.
right? Code says that if it's within 6 feet of water, it has to have a GFCI. So that would be bathrooms, kitchens, right, that have to have them. But again, that doesn't play in unless it's an FHA or a VA buyer. Conventional does not care about it. Right? And again, when is the last time that you heard of somebody getting electrocuted and dying in their kitchen because their outlet wasn't GFCI?
Unless they're showering in the sink.
Exactly. All right, let's keep going. We need 3 more. 3 more things that showed up on this inspection.
On this one,
Yep, on this one. Give me some soft ones in here.
Insulation, improperly insulated.
Okay.
The attic part.
Okay, so insulation is under where it should be. What else?
I think you said HVAC tune-up, or not, AC tune-up, no?
Yeah, like something that we could request to have done. But I'm just saying, like, if it came back on here, like, what else is wrong
Oh,
with this house? And I'm looking for some easy ones.
Chipping paint. That's easy.
It is, and like if it was VA or FHA, they'd be concerned. But what I'm thinking of is let's consider it's not. This is just regular, and I have your average Joe buyer who's looking at buying this home.
foundation.
What else?
Foundation.
No foundation on this
Oh,
one.
no, okay.
So we're not
The
going to
gutters.
foundation on this one.
Gutters.
Gutter, okay. Gutters are blocked.
That's a good one. Rotting boards on the porch.
Okay. We're gonna say that it has 3 rotten boards on the deck. Just do like that. So 3 rotten deck boards. Okay. So we've done our inspection, we have our report, we've come back, this is what we have. So now I'm going to review that report with my buyers And I'm gonna say, okay, wow, well, we got a few things on here that definitely need to be addressed, right? So, some of this stuff we knew going in, and because we knew it, we made our offer based on that. So we really cannot go back and ask them to fix that at this point in time. So for instance, you could see we knew it had knob and tube. Is that something that needs to be updated down the road? It absolutely does. But is that an expense that we're going to expect them to have to carry? No, we knew that. Okay, so that's coming off the table. We're not going to ask them for that. So I would say, if we were looking at this list right here, tell me what your top 3 concerns are off of this list. What do you think their top 3 concerns are going to be?
Mold.
The leaking roof,
Sump pump.
the mold in the attic,
No?
and yeah, probably the sump pump in the basement. So I would say we are still in the seller's market. So yes, this house may have sat a little bit longer for us to be able to get it. But again, if we ask for too much stuff, they're just gonna walk away and go back on the market. Right? They're not going to do $30,000 worth of repairs. And we don't know exactly what is going on with that roof leak. It's gonna have to be further investigated. Same thing with that mold that's in the attic. It can probably just be remediated, but we need to have somebody come out and take a look at it and make sure that that's what's going on there. And then of course the sump pump, because we don't want your basement to flood. It's extremely common for insulation to settle and stuff not to have enough insulation. You can clean out the gutters on your own. Same thing. Tyler, I bet your dad can fix those 3 deck boards, right?
Definitely.
And the no GFCI on the outlets. Again, as long as you're not planning on, showering right next to the outlet, I think you're going to be fine. You can run into that later. I would be concerned with that cracked window because that's going to be in the baby's room and we don't want to have any kind of hazard in the baby's room. I think that's fair to ask. And then that leak under the sink, we can see where it's dripping. That's not going to be a big fix at all. Again, Tyler, I bet your dad could do it. Or at most, that's, $150 to $300 for a plumber to take care of.
Yeah.
So in all fairness, when I share this with the other agent, I'm going to share that these were all our big concerns. But really, we're going to highlight and focus on these 4. How does that sound to you? So that's how you do it.
This point, then, are you calling out more specialists then in those areas?
Yeah.
Since we
So
have
if we had this inspection, then I'm going to go back to the listing agent. I'm going to say, hey, thanks again. We got a copy of the inspection report. I was there for this full inspection as well. As you know, there are a gazillion things that they pointed out because that's what they get paid to do. My clients made their list of top 10. And then I had them narrow that top 10 to the top 4 things that we really think need to be addressed. 1, the cracked window. It wasn't cracked when we went through the house before, and it is going to be the baby's room. So we'd like to have that window replaced. Number 2, we have mold in the attic. Yes, I know, mold in the attic, right? It doesn't necessarily scare my clients off, but we do need to have somebody come in and take a look at that and see what it would cost to remediate, especially since they have a baby. Number 3, the sump pump is not working. So it could just be that battery pack is dead or something. But again, that could flood that lower level that your clients just finished out so nicely 5 years ago. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. So we'd like to have that sump pump either repaired or replaced. But the biggie, right, is the roof is leaking in certain spots. Now, I know that you said it's only 15 years old. So my guess is it's probably flashing that's improperly installed, or that we have some cracks and leaks around those seals. But we'd like to have somebody come out, take a look, and tell us what that's going to cost. So, we can do this, one of 2 ways. Would you like for us to order those additional inspections and we can do an addendum to extend for the time frame for that? Or would your client like to go ahead and handle those and get the repairs taken care of? and then just show us that it was done. We're open to either one.
That's us telling the seller agent.
That would be me. That's the conversation that I would be having as a buyer's agent with that listing agent.
Got
That's
it.
exactly right, how I would have approached that.
Got it.
Now, let's say that they came back and they said, well, you know, my sellers probably wouldn't have the money to fix all that until, you know, like we actually close and they would get the equity out of their home. They don't have any extra money right now to be able to make those repairs. Okay, I totally understand. I can explain that situation to my buyers. And, you know, I'm sure that they probably wouldn't have a problem coordinating and taking on the repairs as long as they have the cash to do it. So just like your folks aren't getting money until they sell the house, with my folks, they had a baby and this is their first home and they don't have a whole lot out of pocket either. So then what I would suggest is that you give us a week to extend to get those inspections and quotes in, and then ask your sellers to give us concessions so that they can have that money back in their pocket at closing to be able to go ahead and get that stuff taken care of.
Can you wait until the inspections come in, and then if you approach the seller and the inspection cost was too much, that can then be negotiated at that point too, right?
What do you mean?
Okay, so you're representing the buyer and you are
Yep.
here and you're saying you're extending the inspection time, you're requesting that for an addendum. So you say now to the selling agent, we had all these inspections done, this is the amount, it's $38,000. At that point, the seller then has the right to come back and say, we'd like to negotiate that. This is only the first step in the negotiation, I mean, the seller doesn't.
Yeah, this is my
ultimately
first
have to
step.
Just do.
Because again, now we could come back and let's say that what we thought was a roof leak was way bigger than a leak, that it was improperly installed when they got that new roof, and that 2/3 of the deck boards are bad. It's got to have a new roof. Okay. And then like the mold in the attic can be remediated. That's going to be way more money than we thought. The sump pump is completely failing and it has to be replaced. And then the cracked window is no big deal. But let's say that we thought we were just going to have to seal, so 500. We thought we were just going to have to fix the sump pump, 150. So now we're at 450, and we thought it was going to cost us about $3,000 to take care of that mold in the attic. So now we're at like 5,500 is what we would have thought that we're going to have to do in repairs. But now that roof comes back and do a whole new roof, it's actually going to be $12,000. So really what we're looking at then is like $1,750 in repairs. 17.
17,000.
Let's do this. There we go. This is actually what we're going to have in repairs. That's a big number, and that's a big difference. And the seller can come back and say, no, we're not going to do that. You can ask. They can come back and say no. So let's say I did. I asked. I want all of this done. And then the listing agent comes back to me and says, it's just too much. Like they just can't get away with that amount of money. We can't do it. And I say, all right, well, you know what? Yes, you know, then let's take out the sump pump. Let's take out the cracked window. I'll pay for them to get a new window for the baby's room. But you and I both know that with the shape the roof is in, it's going to have to be redone regardless. Like if you try to turn around and sell it to somebody else, it's going to be the same situation. The same thing with the mold in the attic. But if we have them replace all the deck boards, right, then on this, then that price is going to go down because they're only treating the trusses. They're not treating all those deck boards. So how about we say, have your people actually replace the roof and have those trusses treated while they're doing it. And we will handle the sump pump and the cracked window on our own. They can still come back and say no. But again, you are there to represent the best interest of your client. You have to have your client's permission for any of these negotiations that you're going to do. But in some ways, you also have to be kind of fair about it. Now, when I only worked listings. So take me back like 4 years, right? So 2021. Let's say we're either, let's go back to right before we went into COVID because that was the height of it. So let's say it's that time around and I'm going to get at least 5 offers on pretty much every property that I throw out there. I might be getting 30 or 40 offers on properties that I throw out there. Most of them are just going to have waived inspections, right? If they didn't get one with waived inspections and they came back to me and said, I want you to fix anything, I'd be going, that's nice, because I got 4 more behind you who want the house. So take it or leave it. We're still in the seller's market. So when we're still at those price points, like under 400,000, most of the time around here, you still have to remember that you're in a competitive market. And if you ask for too much, they're just going to walk away from you.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic.
Right.
Again, if it's a house that's been sitting for 2 months and nobody touched it, you've probably got a little bit more leeway.
Right.
But again, if you try to ask for too much, then they'll just walk.
So
Okay.
if the seller walks, is it their responsibility now to disclose all of this to the next?
It
When
depends.
they do their seller disclosure, do they have to go through all this and make comments, cause now they know?
It depends.
Okay.
Because again, with me as a listing agent, if Tyler called me, cause he's got my buyer, and he said, hey, Kendall, you know, I want you to know that we found out there's significant issues with the roof and with that sump pump. And we're gonna ask you guys to be making repairs on that. I'm gonna send you a copy of the inspection report. I'm gonna say, hold up, Tyler. I do not want the inspection report. I only want the pages that are relevant to what you're asking me about on the inspection report.
So once you have knowledge, you have to
Once
disclose.
I have knowledge, it's almost like in school systems with teachers and all that kind of thing. You are a mandated reporter. If you are aware, you must disclose. So I don't want to see all that other stuff.
If they don't
Right.
send you the inspection report and you haven't seen it in writing, you still are obligated.
You have no proof. They might have said something, but if I haven't seen an inspection report, I didn't see what a licensed blah, blah, blah told me. Now, if they told me that the inspector said that the sewer line's cracked, I'm gonna go get it checked, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Your own inspection.
But look at our disclosure statements. Our disclosure statements do not ask about cracked windows. They do not ask about a sump pump. They do not ask with, it says electrical and are there any known problems? Well, if the knob and tube is functioning, there are no known problems, right? We have nothing that asks about outlets. We have nothing that asks about gutters being clogged or debt or anything like that. So again, what am I gonna disclose?
What's a knob and tube about?
Knob and tube is that old electrical wiring that they used to use back in the early 1900s. So it literally the wire is about this thick, and they call it knob and tube. You've seen plugs that are the round plugs
Yeah.
that are about this long.
Yeah.
Right. That's what knob and tube. That those connectors look like those.
Think of like a cylinder sticking out of the wall, and then the wires just wrap around them to
Right.
connect them on the, like along.
On the
Yeah.
outside of the wall.
It's like a fire waiting to happen, basically.
It is.
Okay.
They're usually a fire hazard, and the big thing is they're live.
What?
Like they're
Oh,
right, they're coated, and when they wrap around that, but if you get one that's exposed, there is no like fail safe or GFCI or anything like that on knob and tube. It's live wiring
Wow.
throughout the house.
No conduit on it, I'm assuming?
It does have a coating on it,
I see.
but if you think about when it was installed,
Oh, yeah.
frequently there's lots of places where that coating is gone.
Because there's a couple houses I looked at.
Yeah, I can just pull it up right here and you can see what it looks like too.
when people say like back in the day, they're really referencing the danger of life, like living 50 years ago. Arsenic and all the pain.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you can have that too.
Okay.
Sorry.
So this is what knob and tube looks like. So see how you've got the stationary knobs, and then the wiring and the tubes run through it.
Yeah, they're like
But nobody
porcelain.
uses that stuff anymore.
Not anymore, but there
But you'll
are
see them in there,
Yeah.
right?
there's houses where the knob and tube is still active.
There's a bunch of them in Alabama.
You'll find a lot of old farmhouses that are still
I
using
haven't
knob and
seen
tube. I had one
Yeah, but you're not gonna
last
sell
year
it.
that was knob and tube. They
But
most
you're-
certainly
you really,
do.
you can sell that?
We sold it with knob
Oh.
and tube.
What? Then they gotta rewire the whole house?
Isn't that dangerous?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, do they have to rewire the whole house when they have that? How does that work?
No, there's no requirement that it has to be redone or changed.
What?
What if you drill a hole in it?
I mean, you
You're
can
gonna
drill a hole
electrocute
in-
yourself with a fire.
You're hanging a picture.
Right, see? No ground wires. They only have hot and neutral wires. They lack the third grounding wire from modern electrical stuff. So,
Oh my God, no way.
yeah.
None of it's grounded.
None of it's, that's what I said. None of it's grounded. That's why it's such a fire hazard.
It's crazy.
So you'll also find houses where they have updated all the wiring, but it's also expensive to go and remove all that. So what they do is they kill it, right? So it's not active anymore, but you'll still see all the old knobs and tubes in the house.
It's crazy. What about if you make a phone call and like during a storm? Can you get struck by lightning? One of those.
It's like Back to the Future. You actually
No,
There it is.
there were a lot of old wives' tales about
Yeah, that's
that.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
But the modern phone system that we have, it
No, and one of
doesn't really
those. Like,
interrupt.
what if you like? Is that what they're talking about? Like when you would pick up the phone and you get struck by lightning or something?
Oh, is it?
Is that what they're
I've
talking
never
about?
heard of anybody that happened to.
Absolutely.
It wasn't
Oh,
just
okay.
wives'
I've heard of
tales.
somebody that had happened, electricity came into the house through the telephone, sure.
Oh, yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, absolutely, it can happen with the old
Yeah.
Did they die?
telephones that hang.
Well, I'm sorry to see that.
Right.
But what about your tongue out of those?
Did these ones score this
I
You
used
go
to-
ahead, Brian, I'm not doing it.
Gives the
I
drill.
have kind of a random question about
Okay.
the permits.
Hold on, Randall's got a question. Russell's got a question. Sorry, guys.
I was looking at a home before and on the seller's disclosure, they had a deck built, but it said they didn't have permits for it. Is that going to get like, called out or anything, or is that
No.
just kind of them saying, hey, there's no permit, so it's on you now?
Our state is not a called out state. California is. Like in California, literally their seller's disclosure is like 60 pages. And if things weren't permitted, you have to go back and have them permitted. So people in Michigan are a lot of DIYers, and there's lots of stuff that gets done without permits.
Because we only got like 2 months of good weather.
It's not required to have a permit. I shouldn't say that. It's not required to have the permit to be able to sell the property.
Okay.
So, no, they don't have to. We see it the most like in decks, hot water heaters, right? Those kind of things. But you can usually tell too when somebody's uncle installed the hot water heater. And the inspector's gonna call it out too because it doesn't meet code and all that stuff. So then it's up to your buyer whether or not they want that redone to meet code.
And if something's
Which-
not up to code, is that gonna mess with like an FHA kind of buyer?
Depends on what it is. I see that all the time too. And personally, I think they change the codes like every 5 years just to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
A lot of them they do. I mean, the hot water heaters, when they changed that code 7 or 8 years ago and they all have to have that round drip pan underneath them, it's supposed to be, right, so that if it explodes or whatever, that pan that is this deep is not going to do squat to the water that's going to be coming out of your hot water heater. Right? Somebody who makes those pans joined forces with the water heater lobbyists and lobbied for that code to be changed so that they could sell their pans. That's what happened.
You're right. it's only like a cup of water.
If your water heater goes whoosh, right? You got 50 gallons and you got a 3-inch tall pan underneath it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand the logic behind it, except if it's in the attic. And there's a
Yeah.
system that monitors a leak.
Right.
So it drips in there.
Right.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it doesn't do
Speaking
anything.
of, I had a fun one with Leah a couple months ago when she was selling that house in Rockford because she asked me to come over and take a look at it with her. And I go over that Sunday and I'm looking and looking and looking and looking too. And I'm like, Leah, where's furnace? Like, do we have crawl space? Do we have mechanical room? Like, can't find anything. We're both searching all through the house. And she's like, I can't find it either. I'm looking and looking and looking. And I'm like, oh, the ductwork's at the top. It's in the attic. Guarantee you it's in the attic. Those are not extremely common, but they are there. And so we went out to the garage and we got a ladder and we hauled it back into that door and I had stuff raining down on me, you know, and I'm pushing the thing up and I'm like, there's the furnace.
Yeah.
And hallelujah, it's like 5 years old, so you're good. We couldn't find the electrical panel either. So the garage it was a separate, like, not pole barn, but similar to pole barn garage out here. And they had this big, like, cupboard thing against the wall. And I made her help me move the cupboards. Then we found, there's the electrical panel for the garage. Still couldn't find the electrical panel for the house. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. Kitchen, right, has this tile backsplash everywhere. And they had this little coffee thing set up here in the corner. If you pulled the coffee maker and everything out right there, there was a little section of tile that pulled out and the electrical panel was behind it.
What?
It's like I ever would have found that, right?
Was it a new build? What?
No,
So
from
why
like
is
the
everything
40s, and then,
Oh,
well, she had passed away. Nobody knew where all this stuff was.
Oh.
So, we had fun. But I'm like, it's gotta have an electric panel, and
Right.
it's gotta have a furnace.
Right.
So,
Right.
we're gonna do some homework. And we finally found a receipt because she had enclosed a screened-in porch and made it like a Four Seasons room at one point in time. And of course, it had electrical. So we dug around through everything and we finally found a receipt for the person who built that room. And we were able to call them to find out how they got the electrical to that room. And that's when we found out about the mystery tile that pops out of the wall,
Right.
with the electrical panel behind it.
Oh my god.
You and Leah did that?
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's a ton of work.
that's what you gotta do, dude. Oh, that's not I have another one that closed last week. And it's in a subdivision that is only 5 years old in Hudsonville. They have an HOA. We can't find anybody from the HOA. Nobody answers any of the emails that we have. Right? We have to have copies of the docs. Like mortgage, Treadstone has to, it's not the docs that Treadstone has to have, they have to have the master insurance policy. Because it's an HOA. And it's like condo HOAs, so they have to have that master insurance. Brian, Dick, and I were emailing back and forth like nonstop. I'm calling the listing agent. He's like, this is all we have. This is all the sellers have. You know, I'm like, they're like, nobody's responding. I go through and I call all the agents that have one sold in there in the past 4 months. Nobody ever got the condo docs or an association contact, which tells me that those mortgage companies and those title companies were pretty shoddy because they should not have closed it without having that. So then I go through and I look everything up and when the development was built and it was Allen Edwin Homes. So I called Lori Lewis from Allen Edwin. I'm like, Lori, do you have any information on this? Well, they basically had the same thing that I had for those email addresses that were not working. But then I sent a thing back to Lori and I'm like, that's still not it. Like, it's not working at all. And she's like, okay, give me like a day or two. She comes back and she found the document when The builder turned it over to the HOA. So that was the first 5 board members of the HOA. I had names. I knew where they lived. I went and started Googling until I found phone numbers. And then I started calling every single one of them, and I got a hold of one of the ladies' husbands. And I said, I am trying to find anybody that is on the HOA with this development. And he said, well, she's not on the board anymore, but she probably has the contact info for the ones who are now. You know, and I'm like, hallelujah, thank you for your help. So she got a hold of the new president, who then gave me a call. He had an invoice for an insurance policy, but no insurance policy. But at least that gave us a place to start, right? So, yeah.
Really?
So I literally spent a week and a half back and forth with title, with Brian at Treadstone, and all these, with us trying to find this master insurance policy or somebody that could get it to us. Mike's a real, the new HOA president, Mike, super nice guy. Turns out he lives 2 doors down from her. And he's like building out their own little website now, right, for all their stuff. And he's like, you mean we have to have that master insurance policy doc like available? And I'm like, yeah, you sure do. You know, it's a requirement. I can't believe they closed the other loans without it. So then funny thing too, I'm at a volleyball tournament on Saturday, and he calls me. He's like, this is Mike, you know, from Bella Creek. I'm like, yeah, how you doing? Well, I'm plugging like this trying to hear. He said, so your buyer that moved into that house, she's like, her dog is loose. And I've caught it, but nobody's answering the door. Okay, I'm texting you her phone number, and I'm calling her right now. They were working on moving stuff. And her mom was at the house with the dog, and the mom did not know that the house can open like the regular doors. So the dog had let itself out and was running free, and then mom wasn't hearing the doorbell. So we got the dog back home. Everybody's happy. But you talk about you did all that. You're gonna find times when you're doing a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think you'd have to be doing to get a home sold. So. Yeah.
You ended up helping him out though too, because he didn't even know he needed that document, like going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, you should be collecting information on every homeowner that moves in, right? Like you need their name, their email, their phone number, and blah, 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 because you have to send out like your proxies every single year to vote. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm like, yep. So he created this cool little form real quick that we filled out. They collect back now.
So we do need the condo forms in our organization. I mean, you're saying that other agents negotiated 4 other deals or whoever in the 4 months that you have passed, and nobody had gotten those proper.
And I don't know how they managed to sell it without that.
Especially
because
the title requirements, that's surprising.
Well, if it's strictly an HOA, you may not have to show that master insurance policy.
Oh.
But if it is site condos, you have to. You have to have it. But the thing was, right, like it had been turned over, but the previous board there hadn't had to deal with it yet because none of the homes has changed hands yet. They're just starting to change hands because they're 5 and 6 years old now. So no, nobody knew what they had to do or what they needed to do. Yeah. Good questions, guys. Great conversations. I'm going to sit here and eat pizza. So if anybody else still wants to talk while I'm chewing, I'm happy to have a discussion. And if you need to go, then feel free to go.
Can I ask you a random question?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to find comps for a deep water marina boat slip with a small piece of land attached to it.
I saw your
buildable.
I saw your post on Facebook, and
nothing.
that's because nobody deals with that kind of stuff. And I have no idea how to advise you on what to do with that either, because
Marilyn Hazard reached out, so I'm gonna try to connect with her, but you gotta do the little knobby, no?
no, you don't have to turn it. You just have to move the
stake.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm just gonna let you
I
show
know,
me.
it's something. There's such-
I'm gonna be
Okay,
stressed.
I'm usually the worst at doing it too, but if it's right here, and then it comes
What?
back.
I could only hear all the noise back there, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's getting pretty noisy out there.
Loving sounds.
There's a spot right there where it connects and then comes back. Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
right
is.
there.
You got it. You have to pull one side?
There we go.
Now, if I go here, you can shove me.
Have you stuck right there? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Robin, but
No, that's okay.
I've sold a marina, I've never sold a boat slip. And I mean, technically, a boat slip, because it's on the water, is not real estate.
Hi, Daniel, this is Suzanne. I'm sorry,
Because
Mr.
again,
Call.
if the water level
There's an
changes,
engineering class at
that also
7:02
affects the boat slip,
in the
right?
next 45 minutes.
you can't park the boat on dry land. If the lake goes down,
Well, yeah, it's attached
own
to
that.
water, or it's attached to a piece of property right there, like a small piece. So there is real estate.
but when you say boat slip, to me that normally means like somebody else owns something.
Well,
And
yeah,
there are
it can
like
park-
6
it can
slips
park a
on
s-
here where
yeah,
people
it's
can
got
park their
two
boats.
seawalls and can park a 72-foot boat, but it can't.
Right, but they own the slip.
Well, yeah, it's in the Bear Lake Channel, like there's a whole marina in there, but they own the slip in that section.
Right.
So,
You're selling the slip?
well, I want to, but these people want me to find them like a value for it because they have come up short with trying to figure out
For
what.
how many feet?
The boat,
Yeah.
they said they fit up to a 72-foot boat in there, but it's.
That's
tight.
so high, that's so long. I could see 40 feet at like 50, depending on what marina, like 50 grand, but
Right.
there's so
But
many
it's
like,
not the-
you're not gonna find a comparable. but,
No,
like,
I know.
For
it's not
70
the
feet,
buildable
that's,
lot. There's one a few down from it that went in 2005 for
Mhm.
250, but it already had a boat house on it. So.
So you're saying it was 250 with the boat?
With the boat house back in 2005. So if I could come up with some sort of
Right.
like inflation with,
but a boathouse is just a dock, right? That's part of, that's
yeah,
just on
it's
the
like
dock area.
literally like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the size of this room, maybe
Oh,
twice
okay,
the
okay.
size. And then
So you don't need a,
walk
like a piece
to the
of
dock.
land that, like for recreational RV or something that you're talking about, it's just a boat dock. Or the boat
With
slip.
land, yeah, in a marina.
Maybe Grand Haven might be the best.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I.
This is where
I'll
all
have to
the
stop
money-
and
Everyone, I've
weekend.
even like called my friends that
Yeah,
have
this is
boats
the
on,
thing.
like nobody has anything. My brother-in-law's like, oh, my rep that works for me in Muskegon used to bartend at the little bar right there on the corner. Like, I'll talk to him. Nobody knows anything, and everybody's.
oh,
like,
you almost have to know, you gotta go, cause I was at the boat launch this weekend, you must gotta know someone, or you gotta go there and like,
I talked to the association. There's an association, but not for this one. It's like around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like privately owned ones, and they sell like their ownerships
Mm-hmm.
in shares, which are valued between 300 and 325.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm
Sounds good.
thinking.
All right, thank you,
But
thank you.
So yours is not an HOA, but that's kind of where I'm getting there too, because you keep throwing me off with the words marina and then
Oh, yeah,
land.
it's like your-
Yeah.
Is the boat slip attached to the piece of land that they own?
Yes.
Okay. Does the marina have any control over their slip? Okay. So then it's not marina. It's land with dock.
geez, do you work for that?
Do you get what I'm saying?
You work for a team.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Where are those guys? I didn't see them.
But again, it's just,
Yeah.
it's one of those needle in a haystacks.
Yeah. I'm just hoping I could like give them a number that they like.
Oh, okay.
and they're
Where-
like, okay, let's list it.
Where did this come from?
Oh,
I
okay,
need from Josh.
alright.
So it's not like a really close friend or anything like that?
Oh, okay.
If it was, I'd have more trust in the situation, and they would be.
No, I
like,
mean, it's
Who is that guy?
still a lead, it's still a possible sale,
Oh, yeah.
but some of those are, more hassle than what they're worth to try to do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering if that's an evaluate it, is it worth my time?
Oh, yeah.
We're not meeting here Thursday. We don't have anything.
What's the next call?
No,
Are you on that
we
team?
do have,
Oh, okay. That's a huge team.
I think it's the 16th, right? That's
How
like
many
not
hours?
next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after.
Yeah.
I'm going to be scheduling like an all in coaching meet up at 9:30 that morning before the sales meeting. But yes, there's nothing.
Speaking of sub pumps,
I will give you a call or text you to set up a time to call.
Sounds good.
Oh, they all
Just
get
kidding.
along.
Mhm.
speaking of sub pump, actually, my
Okay.
sub pump, we lost power for 2 hours. Power came back on. We heard
That's a
this
lot of
noise.
people,
Of,
though.
Mhm.
sub pump is, I think, working, but there's something clogged in the pipe. Who do you
And then, yeah,
know
those
somebody?
things are like.
You can recommend for me? I have a plumber guy, but he's not getting back to me. He's busy, I think.
Is that guy easy to work for?
I need somebody decent.
Steve is really cool. I like
Oh, okay.
I like the whole
How close to Grand Rapids?
everybody's
Kentwood.
really nice and yeah. I just went on well they just took me to like a Zillow concert probably in April in Austin. And I was fun, but only 3 of us went. It was me.
Take a-
Sarah, and then
Take a
this
picture of that one.
Somebody you've used before?
Call Justin.
But Gabby's like
Justin?
in Lansing, so she's never really here. But
Oh, okay.
Is he a reasonable price
That
or
sounds like fun.
yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty good though.
12 Leonard?
You just started out with them?
I joined their team probably like a year ago.
Okay.
now.
Oh,
I
okay.
will give him a call then.
Mhm.
Thank you.
They make you do everything. they
Because
tell
I
you to
I don't know who to call now. I don't call random
Well,
people.
do.
that
They
was
make you do
something
something
else.
they don't wanna do.
No, they
No.
don't.
Tyler, you forgot to remind me.
I
Text me
just
to make you
saw,
remind me.
I saw that, yeah.
Well, that was another thing that
Where's
I
the
thought
guy?
of
Where's
with
Steve?
coaching or the group that's in coaching.
Like,
Mhm.
it's out for 2 weeks and then it's not here. I'm like,
If you take like me, Sid, a couple that have been around a little bit longer now.
I only call him when I
We
have
have
oh, okay.
vendors that we've worked with that we really like.
Right.
I guess that
But then
makes
we
sense.
also have people like in Airbnb groups and all that kind of stuff that are really good at what they do. So I thought I'd talk to Sid and then we'll share it with everybody and you guys can add something when you find somebody. But maybe we'll go ahead and just put a resource
No,
spreadsheet together,
I just
That
thought
would-
it
that
would.
would be
for,
try
yes.
it.
like plumbers and electricians and painters and that kind of stuff. So at least you have somebody to reference
Yeah.
when you
Oh, I
need
can
something to
do
go
that.
to.
I love
Oh,
that. That's
okay.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
I have mine too, but I don't just share my list with everybody. But I'll share some of my list with you guys.
Okay. Thanks. I will need, I got some
Oh,
other
okay.
things going on in Sparta.
Mhm.
Do you
Last year I
like
did
it
the,
then, or do you have to
they
like
did
call a bunch
the
of people?
asphalt.
What do you not like
But-
about it?
the guy didn't raise it, didn't level it correctly. And water is kind of flowing in the wrong direction. It was already bad, so, but now it got worse after he did it. And I need to install gutters in the ground and gutters on the roof. So, you know
Oh,
something for
yeah.
the job?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
I'm trying to get different
But
quotes and
I haven't
opinions.
really done a lot of.
I don't know,
calling
there is like,
people,
there's
but
gutter
I have
specialists,
called people before, you know,
but I'm not sure if I have somebody else specifically that does gutters.
Do your
And then
Instagram
you say-
page.
I'm trying to do like
No,
in-ground
I do
work,
post
concrete.
TikToks here and there, but
Yeah.
I kind of stopped.
I
with
do have a guy
TikToks,
coming in
honestly,
to look
just
at it,
'cause,
hopefully, I
like,
don't know when, but
I had
everybody's
put a
busy.
lot- I had put a lot of like
Summer.
this stuff
Everybody
on
tries to
my
get everything done in
goals and
summer.
everything like that,
Yeah.
just 'cause I was going through a lot of stuff like in my own life, but you know, now I'm getting over that, so I could jump
You're
back
gonna
into it.
you're gonna like
Yeah.
start a new thing. or-
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. But no, it's definitely fun, you know, like that.
I'm looking.
How
No problem.
you were just saying.
You can send it to me
like,
later,
that's a
no
lot
big
of
deal.
stuff, like moving them tiles
want you
or
to
like jumping up in
worry
the
about it
attic,
now.
like that's my type of vibe. You know, I like doing odd stuff like that. So whatever it takes, you know.
Yeah. I feel like as I get older, I get more grumpier. Like, I don't like to do all that extra.
I don't see anybody right away that's just
But,
gutters.
Well,
I
mainly,
seem to
like
do
I
a
said,
lot of that.
the main
already
issue
on
I
my
have,
own. Like this
I gotta
extra digging around.
re-level that part
Yeah.
in the
so you're
back
gonna-
that's higher
Mhm.
and redirect
so
water
you're
and fix the
agent.
concrete.
I guess you're a real estate agent.
The
right?
concrete was already, because they didn't have
So you're
gutters,
gonna,
kept
like-
dripping,
Mhm.
and the
Do you
concrete
have a
was
big
set up
big
slope
SOI?
in the other direction. So water going in there, gutter going into the garage. It's a whole weird situation. But definitely
I met
with
this,
that.
yeah, I went and got a copy of this
That
girl.
concrete
Uh,
fixed.
Yeah.
she's
And I have to
all
put those
social
in-ground
media.
gutters, you know what I'm talking about?
She started 2 years ago.
Otherwise,
She's
I'm not
got,
redoing the whole parking
47
lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
deals.
I would think you almost need like a general contractor to do that.
Yeah,
She was telling me that, yeah, being a girl and then
that's
being
who I have, but they
so
they
young.
charge a little bit more for it.
No, definitely.
It is like a thing.
They do, but they're also gonna have to manage 3 or 4 different groups to do all the work.
Yeah.
So
Not you, but she was like,
Yeah.
it's like tough.
Yes.
that's probably what you're gonna need.
Probably.
They question.
Because if I call one guy to do one thing, then I gotta call the other guy to do another thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what
We'll
people
see.
think, like, it's just like,
But if you can think of anybody that does concrete and good at it, let me know.
she.
That's really the main thing that I'm gonna run into.
Oh, yeah. I gotta look at that too though, because there's also different kinds of concrete groups, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll check my things.
Okay. Keep me in your thoughts.
You can also post something in the Facebook group.
We,
If you stay consistent at
Got
it
a-
though,
a
because you
loser.
have to work the algorithm too.
a lot of them, either they want
Yeah,
price
yeah.
way too high, they think I don't know what I'm doing,
Yeah, we kind of like,
and
No, I mean in like the Keller Williams Facebook group.
Oh,
It says who do you use for
Yeah,
your
yeah,
concrete?
okay.
to kind of make it consistent and all that, and it was like new or before
That's
it
a
was
good-
like,
yep.
my personal, it was
Yeah.
kind of like,
Wants and
Okay.
needs,
thought into it, so.
the wants and needs page.
It's
Yeah.
cool kind of watching,
So give that one a shot.
Good idea, yeah, for sure.
views and all that.
Thank you.
Grow.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Which I wasn't really into that before, but now it's,
Well, they
Yes,
never
now
showed
it's
up,
like
so.
You have to be willing to
Oh, I
put
don't
yourself
feel
out
bad.
there, cause, you know,
they're kind of mad if I don't want like certain things as well, like just post it or that I don't have control over.
right.
That's been pretty fun. Alright, well, I'll see you guys, next week.
Okay.
Have a good one,
Okay.
man.
Have a good day, guys.
Okay, Kendall, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, you know, I'm always on the TikToks.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've seen like a lot of people do this challenge, and it's basically doing 100 open houses in 100 days. And so I want to try that challenge, but I'm not sure how to like go about even getting to like how do I get 100 open houses, you know? Like where can I
Well, the problem there is we do have the Keller Williams like wants and needs page, right? That you can put on there.
okay.
However, because of the way you operate under your broker, you can only do open houses for listings out of this office.
Right.
So I would suggest that you put together a timeline and a prep list and have that for when you're gonna start and let everybody here at the office know you are going to do this challenge and that you would like their help in filling up your days with open houses. And I mean, have them lined up, you know, a week, maybe even like 2 weeks ahead of time if you can,
Right.
so that you know you've always got something coming. But it's gonna take a coordinated effort to get you 100 days.
Okay. Can I post that like besides on the Wanted News page? Can I post that like on the Facebook page that there is?
Which Facebook page?
Well, I think I'm only in one, but I'll just show you which one I'm talking about. And this,
Yeah, you can post it in there too.
okay. And then there was this QR code that you put up on the screen a little bit ago. This one, I don't know if it's gonna pop back up on there, but
It will pop back up on there, and what that one does is it allows you to register. So the QR code that's in the corner, the
Yeah.
bottom corner of that, lets you register to be on the list. So what the list is like people who are ready, willing, and able to do open houses.
okay.
Then the other one that's a QR code just lets you get invited into the Facebook group.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you couldn't post it like on GRAR or something like that because you can only post within your brokerage,
Okay. That makes sense.
which most people think too means, hey, I'm in Keller Williams, so I can do any Keller Williams, but not true because your license is held under one broker,
Okay.
not Keller Williams. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Fabulous. How's everything else going?
It's been alright. I'm just starting to get my life back together, so there's that.
I understand. And it'll take a long time for that.
Yeah, but on the positive,
Mm-hmm.
I was about like this close to getting a listing, but oh yes, this literally all happened yesterday. So I was trying to get them pre-approved for like a whole month,
Mm-hmm.
and finally yesterday they got like the pre-approval back, but they only got pre-approved for like $45,000.
Oh my word.
I was like, hey, we can't do anything with that. Like, especially because I was under the impression, like, maybe we can take sell your house and roll that over into, buying your house. But I don't even think that was gonna cut it.
They can't even buy a trailer in Mesquite Heights for that.
So, yeah, that's how that went. But at least I got to do a listing presentation. And he was more nervous about it than I was, so that made me feel a little bit better too, I wasn't the most nervous one in the room. Oh.
Hi, Rick. I'm chowing down on some pizza. What can I do for you?
Oh, I just had a question. Possibly two-part.
Okay.
Total buildable square footage.
Uh-huh.
Listing. What would you say? Is that just the space up one level? Is that adding?
Total build is all of it.
So if it's a ranch with 1,200 square feet, basement 1,200 square feet.
2,400.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Kalamazoo County.
Mm-hmm.
So where to get their experience without buying it?
RPR or Real's Tax Info.
Okay. I'll try those. Wasn't having much luck.
When's the last time it sold?
19.
When?
2019.
Oh yeah, it should be easy to get to.
Okay.
But
yeah, the info in that wasn't great.
Hold on. Well, it's not always great there, right?
Right. I don't even know how I'm still number 7. Look at you.
I have 3 more closings this week, so. We're gonna wind up in that, won't we?
Inspection class.
That's good.
What's your address? 8920.
That looks right.
Yeah. E space W. And maybe it's a 290. It's those numbers. So.
No. There we go. Is it Vicksburg?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking for?
Oh, we're just entering all the listing information in. So it's asking you for the total building square footage. All that fun stuff.
Right here. But if you notice here, this will be public facts, right? And then this is from the last time they listed it.
Right.
It says public record, says 1105.
Which I don't think is true. But
And he put it in as 1250, right?
Mhm.
2 acres, 1.9 acres. Basement square footage is listed in here again, 1,092. 1976.
it's got that shot basement area.
Where are they past clients?
No.
Okay. How on a note did that close? So like 5 years ago?
2019.
Okay. So, do you know who they were pre-qualified for when they bought it? Okay.
I don't even know the client super well.
Okay.
Fortuitous encounter. Oh, but
Yeah.
that's enough.
So, I mean, you can also go right here. Did you try the realist tax info?
I did not try to read this. It's also buyer to verify information, correct?
It is, yeah, but.
I mean, I'll do the best that I can.
Is it Brady Township?
Yep.
There we go. Right there, above ground square footage, 1105.
So did you offer that for the realist? I'll ask them if they have like an appraisal from the last time they bought, just to see what they said the square footage was, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what I try to look at the most. But again, I would trust that over,
Well, the listing info doesn't give me much confidence when this is the lot size, but then that's the.
right.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just double checking right here too, just to make sure. Yeah, they didn't have a floor plan.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, though, Rick, is if you think you're kind of close or you're within, right, somewhere there, then you can also just have them do a floor plan when you do photos and have it measured. So,
Will do. Thank you.
okay, welcome. Okay.
You guys have sales meetings every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday. And then usually I teach a class, or somebody teaches a class, every Tuesday after the sales meeting. So, I said next week is Lisa's class, and then the week after that is the mold sold one. Yeah.
Randomly met this gentleman the other day at my other care facilities in that Big Rapids area. And he just like walked up to me and he's like, "Go ahead, practice on me. I need to buy windows and showers, actually." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And then my brother, he's autistic, and we're kind of thinking like long term, like who we can connect him with
Yep.
to have a little bit more social life. And so I'm gonna go visit him this weekend and check out his facility, see if he can go hang out with those guys for a little bit. I guess they all card games and anime. I was like, that's super good. But, yeah.
You crack me up too, because honest to goodness, every time I've heard you use that word, you go adult and then you stop. I'm always like, what's coming out of his mouth next? Adult what?
Yeah.
One of these days, I promise you, you're gonna end up with a claim. You're gonna tell me she works in adult entertainment because you get that word so much.
They're out here.
It's gonna happen.
Technically, I guess he is entertaining adults in a way. It's just keeping them occupied.
Wait, you sell windows and showers?
Yeah, yo.
What?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, I work with All Weather Seal too. And so I'm the person at like the retail store or like an event, and I was like, "Hey, have you actually entered a $15,000 giveaway for All Weather Seal of West Michigan? And let's hypothetically, let's say if you won,
Yeah.
what would you put it towards? You windows or showers?"
Skills. Okay.
Yeah, very, very. You probably got good ones already. Yeah.
Give him that information.
But yeah, it's got me in contact with
Authorization,
homeowners
even
too.
that, because they're not on the account, he isn't
And then
arguing with me. I'm like, I don't know, I just met somebody. I just
Yeah, she got title on the phone.
No, I
And
just.
she works with
Information and just filling this out.
adult
Whoa, you know, I'm
needs
not gonna
special
do
needs. She
it.
does
Oh my gosh.
Special Olympics,
Oh, okay.
and they own a blueberry farm out there. Go help with the Special Olympics and that.
That's all.
I'll send you like a sound and electronics guy.
Okay.
It's like a magic show. Yeah. I'm like kind of bummed about it. She messaged me like a couple weeks ago and she was like, "Hey, I know we haven't talked in about a
Money for
month,
their
but
organization.
I wanted to see if you were interested in helping us out." So,
I'm so weird right now. I'm just like, what is her customer service?
That's lit.
they're funner than most like regular adults, you know.
Right.
We all get caught up in like what we're wearing or like.
Yeah, they're just there to buy.
Yeah.
Like midnight the other night, I had a buyer who sent
No
like
shame.
10 houses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He has this
You know what
sketch
happened to
about.
me? I was doing a manual search. And it's so amazing because if this person has a subscription, it's only setting them under 5 acres. So it's cleared all of her searches. I started new search on like 10 acres more.
Don't think those the happiest people on
Searching
earth.
600
Dude, they don't get
houses, just going
it.
around, you know.
Like we're pretty much working in They're just like.
He was sending lists all over Michigan.
Exactly.
I had to
My little
apologize. I'm
cousin,
like,
he
that
has
is what I
Down
get for
syndrome,
being
and
complaining.
he
I
is
know.
literally just like,
Really sorry
he's just so crazy, honestly. But he's so fun to be around too. Like the latest story,
Yeah, that kind
right?
of stuff happens.
My cousin, he lives in
I
Texas,
send her subscription.
but
It's per
my
year
cousin
and
just
you know,
called me
you'll
and said that she didn't order him McDonald's off of DoorDash, so he called
Oh, yeah.
911
You learn a lot
and
quick.
police showed up to the house and they explained like, oh, he just wanted McDonald's, and so the police actually left and got him McDonald's and came back.
Started reading the one thing.
He doesn't even really, he doesn't even talk
Help with
that
the timing
way,
and
like,
stuff
you
like that.
don't know him,
Yep.
you don't really understand him,
And-
and so they didn't even have the
I didn't
address
talk
of
to
their
you
apartment
yesterday
or
on the
anything,
thing,
literally
but
just, like, knocked on
congratulations, today
every
is your official
door of the
graduation day.
complex.
You're 1 year
You know,
old.
that's like the
Yeah.
area they're in when you call, but
Yeah.
yeah, That was crazy.
I have learned a lot.
That though, he like
I am
mentally was like,
glad.
I want McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Alright.
that.
I say whenever I have like a time
Or,
crunch
like,
thing where it's like something out of the blue, and I'm usually
this was a few
texting
years
you,
ago.
Ed, and then
I was,
Sam at the
I
same
was
time.
outside.
Because sometimes it's like, oh man, I have like 2 hours. I'm just gonna text everybody at
Yeah.
once. Then all of a sudden I'll get all the responses around the same
Not be
time.
around this go
Well,
outside.
and when I do the
And he got
all-coaching
mad at me
thing, because we
I
have
told him
several
to
more
go
new
inside,
ones, you
so
know,
he
back
called
in.
the
Uh-huh.
police
I'm in a
on
full
me.
Slack back
And I was
Okay.
like,
So for those
Sir, I
who
thought I
read
was
through
doing
it,
the right
if you want to
thing.
stay in
Like,
it, that's just
I don't have it on my phone.
posted. Well, but I mean, once I
Legally
reactivate it,
doing
you know,
it.
they can post
Like,
it
I'm
there.
not in the car,
Yeah.
I'm on the
Somebody answers
porch,
quicker, and
like,
you don't have
I
to do
just
that.
told the kid
Yeah.
to leave. I don't know what, I didn't do anything wrong.
They were laughing about
Currently.
Yeah,
The
they
guys.
were, and he was like talking to them like, you know, like, trying to get them to be mad at me, but I'm like, you're wrong.
This is all about foundation.
You're wrong. You're using the tax dollars for this, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, that is too funny. That's too so the police might even kind of like know him a little bit. It's like,
At
Yeah,
this
when you have a
point,
time-
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's cool.
cool.
It's
You
good.
might as well give them a ride along day, like basically part of the crew at this point.
Yo, my grandparents are down in Florida, and they've been falling like the last year or so, but the last couple times it's been like really minor. It's like simple stuff. They just have to like literally call 911 to like help them.
Yeah.
Like everything's okay, like it's not an emergency. But they like know that it's not firefighters.
Yeah.
It's like this funny thing, like, oh, Ed, how you doing? He's like, trying to tie your shoes again? So I'm like, yes, you got further than we did last time.
2 days ago,
Yes,
and now
I
I'm gonna
feel
close
you.
on
That's how my
Thursday.
dad was.
And it just seemed
Like
like
he
one
would,
inspection
he would
yesterday, because
literally
she delayed doing that.
like
and he
start
goes, "I
sending
know
me
we have to
selfies like
replace
when he
the-
would fall down on the
bladder
floor, like, oh,
the
just
well.
waiting for
The
them to
pressure
go pick
tank.
me up
Okay.
again.
It's like,
And I'm like,
It's too close.
okay, thanks for the update, Dad.
Because they want to get
He's
the
like,
house
I'm
now.
okay, but
I don't-
you're.
that's not gonna be a
Yes,
possibility.
exactly.
Well, she wants me to pay the invoice without the work being done. I never do business like that. I'm not doing
How
that.
old's your dad?
I'm just answering. calls that have to be on the
So would that be
I'm
like one of those
sorry.
escrow situations, if anything?
Bro,
Like,
we
if it-
just had this conversation yesterday, me and my
I
mom.
don't know.
No, I'm just gonna say my guy's coming out
He was
Tuesday.
gonna be,
Our original close date was the 9th, which
he
is
would
Yeah.
have
still
been
making
61
it,
this
so
year.
he's now, they
Mhm.
held it
Yeah.
2 weeks. I didn't know what was going on, then he came back to me and we negotiated, but
It's alright.
she
Yeah,
got
you're
the
looking
whole
at contract.
inspection, I mean,
Bless you.
none. She
Yeah.
waited on the wall,
Cheers.
not my fault.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, she's
Yeah, he
not.
just passed away.
We gotta get this done,
Like,
because they wanna get the house, cause the
March?
lockups, I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry.
So it's still
The
fresh,
contract
but
says
you
the
know,
9th, it's the
like-
9th, you know?
Sometimes you just gotta cope with the dead dad jokes, you know? Like,
Gotta have
People
a
are
little
eager
dark
now,
humor
but
with it.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, you can't be sad around it
all these
forever. I mean, you
negotiations
can, but
isn't being
like,
clear to stop, so
Yeah.
I'm just.
let's be
I'm gonna-
real, life goes on.
Just gonna hold my own here.
And he would want you to live in happiness
Yes, exactly.
and to keep
This lady got me message
optimism
that
and
we're delaying this
excitement in your
meeting.
life and to grow.
Yes.
Answer me.
Yeah.
That's exactly, oh, thank God.
When I was younger,
15 minutes.
my grandmother passed away, and I was 100.
Oh,
And like the night before that, preceding it, she like visited my parents
oh.
and like I spoke about stuff
And
like
he
how I
grinder pumps at the, you know, like, I'm putting all
there
over the
was
place.
like higher place and like
I'm going to town to
she was
get like 90
comfortable
bucks to
there
use
and
my
all this
credit
kind of
card.
crazy stuff.
Really?
Yeah, my
But
grinder
I
pumps.
really
I'm
do
like,
think
no, I'm
that's
coming
true.
in for the check like tomorrow. And
We're
do
caught up
this.
in, you know,
Yeah,
all
that's
the
crazy.
physicality of
Crazy.
That is.
money and like things that we have.
So I'm running all over and creating.
We're
my
just
own
like
thing
a
of it.
flesh suit,
I don't care.
Yes.
you know, like
So
our actual
pennies, it
beings,
would be like, you know, 4 times eating it out garden
you could
or something.
explain it as like the scientific thing about the energy in our brains or something.
Yes,
But
exactly.
I think that part of us never dies. That spirit, that energy just gets passed out to people we love.
Sorry, man, I'm just kidding people. I don't care.
So, like,
We've just been
I
driving
had this
Brussels
bracelet
and all this stuff, and now
from my grandmother, and she
he gave
I'm
it
not
to
trying to speak badly about anybody, but our
grandfather.
communication, some of it is sucked.
He there's a guy that wants to put an offer in on this house, and it's in a short sale. I messaged the agent 4 or 5 days ago. I messaged the brokerage, just emailed the brokerage and just said, hey, I'm just looking if there's any information, sort of specific documents I need. And
But
No,
I really do, I
response
think they
from
live
the-
with us all the time. And like, you know, the moral decisions we make.
3 days after you're supposed to. So then I had to ask her for it, and she said, oh, the title company didn't give it to me.
Yeah, that was one of the things, like,
And I
you know,
recited the rules of the purchase
so
agreement. Like,
I'm
okay,
Mexican,
that's
and
good.
like, if you talk to
I think
any
I know by
Mexican,
now
they'll
how to
be
read
like,
the purchase
a trip to
agreement, and
Walmart
then
is
she gave
basically
it to me.
family
She just-
reunion, and
Just
so,
there's just been hookups,
like,
and this
I've
is a
lived
good
that
and this
throughout my
is
life,
just
but I
been
was
all
just
over
kind of
work.
like, you
I don't
know,
know, maybe it's
oh,
because
here
I
goes
knew.
my dad talking to somebody
I'll
else
just-
again.
Just
But
communicate that.
when
say,
it came
do
time
everything,
to
no.
like the funeral and
Yeah, I deal
everything,
with this
that's
before,
really
so
when
if
everybody
there's
gets
any
in together and
indication,
actually like
feel free.
shares stories
Shoot me.
about
The
it
way
and like
the
how they
inspector
helped
came
them
out, they
in
turned on the
life or
insulation
how
in
they
my
helped
garage,
them in life.
and
And
the garage
so
floor. I
that
can't
made
believe
me
supposed to do
like that made me
they were
realize
doing
like, oh
further
wow, you really
inspections.
was
So,
like,
But
a
they
really
were like
good
strips of
person to
insulation
other
that had been
people,
handed,
you
but they
know,
didn't put
but
them back in.
Yeah,
at the end of the
I-
day,
The
you might
electricity
not
was
have
off, my
like
refrigerator wasn't working.
the
They
most
said,
amount
"Hey,
of
listen,"
money
she's
or
like, "Well,
like
listen,
done
us.
all these
Clearly you
extravagant
were the
things,
only
but
ones
it's
in
like
the
the
house. I
little
haven't
things
been